Nasty here on a Thursday afternoon. It's the Fast Lane. Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, our guy Anthony. He'll be back in the house tomorrow. He's been running daddy daycare all week at the Stalter household. And boys, I'm going to tell you something. I'm in a pretty good mood today.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
This is my Friday today.
Yeah. I came in and I said, I feel like today is Friday. James said, it is for me.
It is for me.
Hey, thanks for the reminder.
Be headed out to the lake tomorrow for a great 3.5-day weekend.
You have a good time.
Yeah, it'll be a great time. But also, that's not the only reason I'm in a good mood, Carey.
Why?
The Cardinals win another series, baby.
Look at them. Look at us. Huh?
And they beat a real team, Carey.
They did.
You said they couldn't do it.
I actually didn't say that.
Well,
I just said I want to see them do it.
Yeah, but you said they can't play against good teams.
No, I just said against bad teams, they play really bad. They play good against good teams, actually. Yeah,
I was going to say, we got some numbers to support it. I was about to pulverize you with some numbers.
Versus the Atlanta Braves. I was going to say the Atlanta Falcons. The Braves. It'd been better if they beat the Falcons. But, you can do what you do.
Yeah, so
the series by now.
The Cardinals split the doubleheader yesterday with the Braves. And then I want to know honestly, no hindsight here. I want to know honestly, what were your feelings when the Cardinals decided to roll out Matthew Liberatore in the deciding game of the series?
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. I thought he did really well. I was excited to see him do really well. I didn't ask you that. No, what did I think? I had no thoughts. I didn't know.
Carey, you are a man of many thoughts. There's no way you sat there were blank.
Sometimes I do stare off into the abyss and you staring at me in the office back there. What are you thinking? Nothing.
I didn't even want to know what you're thinking.
Emptiness. Nothing's going on. Yeah. It's a blank stare. You think I'm looking at you, but I'm looking through you. It's kind of weird sometimes. It happens. I apologize. No, I didn't have any expectations. None high, none low. This is the, I don't want to say issue. This is the concern with Matthew Liberatore, the ups and downs. He has an ability, and I'm lying. I'll tell you what I thought.
Oh, there we go. Marshy, I knew we'd get to the truth at some point here.
I was a bit concerned. I think his last few starts didn't go too well. A couple of 3-inning outings. He was coming in an opener role, I think, for one of them, and you just didn't know what to expect or what you were going to get. But you were very, very pleased with what you did get. 6 innings, did a great job. Only allowed 2 hits. I thought he did. This is the Matthew Liberatore that I saw in his first outing last season. Like I've seen this guy, not enough, but I've seen him, which means it lets me know that he's there. It's in there. Can you be consistent? And really, Jamie, you know this just as well as I do. That's what makes a pro athlete a pro athlete. That's what separates a really good collegiate or youth player from guys that make it to the NFL, to the NHL, to the major leagues. It's their consistency. It's the ability to go out, do it one day, good job, get pats on the back, and then damn well go do it again. The ones that can do it consistently are the ones that are major leaguers. They are the ones that are professionals. The ones that are inconsistent generally don't have a career after college or after juniors or whatever, after the minors, because they can't be consistent. And so if Matthew Liberatore can be this version more often than not, then we might have something there.
Marshy, what were you thinking? Because I know you're a passionate Cardinals fan.
Yeah.
I know you have some thoughts.
Yeah, I was not at all confident in Matthew Liberatore going more than 4 innings. And why is that? Because he hasn't gone more than 4 innings in any of his starts this entire year. 3 2/3 is the highest. So coming off game 1 when Kyle Gibson does not give you any length and you lose that game, I'm thinking, wow, this bullpen is really going to be tested today. Not only in game 1, but in game 2, because Matthew Liberatore, from what his stats show, he's not going more than 4 innings. So to get 6 innings out of him yesterday was exactly what you needed, and that was a moment for him to step up when the Cardinals really needed him to save the bullpen in a sense. He really stepped up and did his job, right? The only thing that kind of concerns me, sort of what you're talking about, is the consistency. We saw this last year. He pitched really well against Tampa Bay, and that was kind of it. Other than that Milwaukee start he had last year, where that team couldn't hit lefties, especially on that night, he really only had 2, I would say, really, really good starts. So let's see if he can continue it. If he gets the opportunity, I think he will, because if you go out and you pitch 6 innings like that, and Oli Marmol left him in, we'll get to that a little bit later, but I think for him, it's a confidence boost, and that's exactly what Oli Marmol said it would be, and hopefully he can take that and run with it, because this Cardinals rotation needs a solidified 5th starter. Is it Andre Palante? Is it Matthew Liberatore? Is it somebody outside of the organization? Is it another arm within the organization? I don't know, but this is an opportunity for guys like this, like guys like Matthew Liberatore, to step up and take that spot.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah, so here's where I am with it. And I had no confidence at all, quite honestly. I'm just being honest.
I would love to see a raise of hands from everybody in this city that had a ton
some
of
people are
confidence.
driving.
They can still raise their hand.
2 hands,
10 and 2.
2 hands
My
on
bad.
the wheel,
My
Marshy.
bad.
We
10 and
can't
2.
promote anything unsafe.
You're right.
Okay?
And safety belts.
But you
Well,
could
yeah,
just
for sure.
say
Please.
"I" in your car if you.
I.
Yeah, I think everybody would agree that they was a little shaky for them. What I was impressed with the innings, of course. Oh, he 8 innings. That's great. He got the. Me, it was the way he did it. Where the hell did that slider come from?
That's the thing.
What are we doing here?
Got it.
Like, that's unbelievable. He was, first of all, he was brought in, when he was brought in, traded for and brought in the curveball pitcher. He had a great curveball. Now, I know a slider's another form of a breaking ball, but this slider that he's throwing, if he can repeat that over and over again, this is a difference maker for Matthew Liberatore. Maybe he's found that one pitch that when he's in a count, or he wants to get ahead in a count, or he's behind in a count, wants to get back into the at-bat, he throws that slider. I mean, every pitcher has a pitch that they love that works for them.
I think it's exciting for him. I think, again, can you repeat that? Can you do it over and over again? That's the thing. Like, it becomes mundane. It's really hard to have success, and then your next opportunity, it's a completely new slate. You have to start over. It's like that never happened, and you have to go out there and do it again. And he's shown ability. I think that's the frustrating part. He's shown the ability to have success, but it hasn't been consistent. So if let's build on it. You've had some really good starts these last couple of games. You've had some, minus what Kyle Gibson did in the first game of the doubleheader, you've had some really good starts. Lance Lynn performed well. Sonny Gray did a great job. You got another good one from Matthew Liberatore. Let's keep it going and add the hitting, the timely hits. Scoring a couple of runs in the bottom of the 8th was crucial last night to make sure that you didn't put Helsley in an uncomfortable situation where you only had 1 run to allow. So I think all in all, it was a good series versus a good team. Okay, good. Now do it again. That's the coach in me though. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Like I am a.
Carey,
I don't care.
You're just never satisfied.
No, I'm not. That's the problem.
It's just never enough for you.
It's never enough. Give me more. You did it once. Do it again.
Yeah.
Damn it. Now you get to go against a division foe. Show me that this is who you are. Do it again. And then you will be praised. You get praised.
I have a feeling if they do it again, you'll say, do it again.
I will.
You know?
Yeah.
No, I will.
That gets a little tiring after a while.
No, it shouldn't. You should want to
You're
keep
just doing it over and over and over
you should
again.
want to do it all day, all night.
They have to do it at
Never
least
stop.
2 more times in a row, and then Carey will be happy. That will get them, I believe, 5 games above 500.
Do it then, and we'll see.
And he'll want more.
And then
Which is
I want
Carey.
more.
He wants us to keep giving him more.
I want more. I want it all.
Yeah, I know you do.
I want it all.
An insatiable thirst for winning.
Never stop.
That's right.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, the Cardinals got their hands full here now. They've got the Reds coming to town. I know that's not usually a massive story, but it's a division game, just like you said, Marshy. These are big games. The funny thing is that the Cardinals aren't really gaining any ground on the Brewers.
They keep winning, too.
Yeah. They need to get the memo here to suck for a little bit.
They haven't.
The wild card race is getting a little better for the Cardinals, creating a little bit of distance, but everything is still so jammed up in the National League. So, to your point, Carey, just keep winning. Just keep winning. That's the only way to get yourself through this, the only way to get yourself into the playoffs. And at that point, we'll see the Brewers. I think the Brewers are still within reach at 6 games. It's a 3-game slide one way and a 3-game win streak, and all of a sudden you're 3 games back.
Right.
And now it's real at that point. So we'll see. Cardinals get a good start from Matthew Liberatore. Oh, quickly, before we end the segment, do you think next time it's up in the order, is it Liberatore or Palante?
Liberatore.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought Andre Palante pitched really well against the Giants, too. So,
yeah, but which one?
You got to run the hot guy, Carey.
There you go. And who did you have more belief into when you signed them? Like when you brought those guys in, who had a higher upside?
Hall of Famer for him.
Wow.
I will say, though,
who has the greater upside when they brought him in? Usually,
Matthew Liberatore.
There you go.
I think it really depends on how they utilize Matthew Liberatore in these next few days, because Oli said that he is a guy that will want to take the ball every single day. We know he's effective out of the bullpen, so if they need him in a bullpen spot within these next few days, perhaps he's not starting.
You got JoJo, you got John King, you got lefties. Go ahead. Don't pitch him. Let him pitch again in 5 days. Boom.
All right, we'll find out. It's a big decision for Oli Marmol and the rest of the staff, but it worked out last night. So good on the Cardinals. Well, gentlemen, while we were sleeping-ish, the Blues have made some moves with their coaching staff. We'll get into that next here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Well, Carey, the Blues have made some additions and upgrades, or promotions rather, within their coaching staff. And this is a little bit surprising to me. So we're actually, tune in today, by the way, we're going to have Drew Bannister, head coach of the Blues. He'll be joining us at 4:30 to discuss all of this stuff that's happened here today with your St. Louis Blues. The first order of business is Steve Ott, who has been an assistant coach for a number of years now. He gets promoted to associate head coach.
Okay.
So basically the right-hand man for the head coach. It's a promotion. I would imagine there's a pay upgrade, I would imagine, and certainly more responsibility that will fall onto Steve Ott's plate. I'm happy for Otter. I am. He was a he was a blue-collar player. We butted heads many times on the ice, but he's always a guy that played the game the right way, and he played hard and cared about his teammates and cared about his team. Got into his post-career with the Blues. Doug Armstrong brought him on as a eye-in-the-sky coach, so he wasn't really on the bench, but he participated with the coaching staff and learned some things and started to build up his coaching resume. Been on the bench now for a couple of years. Stanley Cup assistant coach, the year the Blues won. Now he gets promoted to associate head coach, which means that the next step for Steve Ott is head coach somewhere. Maybe here St. Louis, not sure, or somewhere else. That's the next step. So good for Steve Ott. Really proud of him. He's an unbelievable dude, and I'm glad he's still here. Next move is the Blues bringing in Claude Julien. Carey, do you know Claude Julien? Do you know of him?
I've heard of him.
Okay.
I heard of him. Well, I heard him earlier today, but I heard of him before. He's Stanley Cup winning coach for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
So he has a pedigree about him where he knows how to win championships, Jamie. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. Listen, trust me, I know Claude Julien. One, he's from Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
So my hometown, I've known Claude for I don't even know how many years. It's been crazy, the amount of years that I've known Claude Julien. But he's been an NHL head coach since 2002, 2003. So 20 years of being an NHL head coach. Now he's an assistant coach. I don't know. I find it interesting, the selection there. One, he's a heck of a guy. He will help this team with their offensive side of the game, the power play, all that stuff. Claude Julien is really good at that. But I would compare it to this, Carey. Let's do this. It's simple, actually. You become a head coach in the NFL. You've never had an NFL coaching job before. You get your first NFL head coaching, and then your associate head coach or your top guy next to him, they hire Mike Tomlin. Right? Like,
Okay.
Now, if you reached out to Mike Tomlin, I am going to talk to Drew today. I'm going to ask him flat out, like, was this your call or was this the organization?
Right.
Because I'm just being honest. And if Doug Armstrong's listening right now and the Blues are listening, I'm just being honest. That if
Might be uncomfortable.
Yeah, don't you think?
Well, I think
imagine you're trying to make a big league decision and you look over your left shoulder and there's Mike Tomlin giving you that look like I give you during the Gauntlet. You don't know if it's the right?
I don't know if it's good or bad.
That's right.
Not saying anything.
Then you're like, stressful, no?
It is. I would hope. I've only talked to Drew Bannister a couple of times. You know him very well. He seems to me to be a very secure person in what he's doing, very confident, very comfortable in the role that he's in. And I think adding someone with that much knowledge, that much experience can only add depth to your coaching staff and help your team. So I would hope that, the hiring of Claude Julien just makes the team more well-rounded, makes the coaching staff more well-rounded, gives that room more years of experience, and having a guy that has done it at the highest level as a head coach, you would hope that that's someone you could lean on and ask questions and as a head coach, you're still going to do what you want to do at the end of the day because all decisions, your name goes in the win-loss column. But having someone that has that experience can only be beneficial for the staff and for the team.
Marcy, what are your thoughts?
I think it's interesting. I just hope it doesn't overshadow Drew Bannister's tenure as a Blues head coach. And like you said, sort of having that looming presence of...
It's a hell of a presence.
It definitely is. Do you think it's because he has won a Stanley Cup, because we've seen this happen not too long ago, where Jim Montgomery came in with Craig Berube. Now, Craig Berube had won the Stanley Cup, so it's a little bit different, but you still had a head coach, a former head coach, as an assistant coach. And it's not the first time we've seen this in any sport. We see it in football a lot. But I wonder if having that Stanley Cup on your resume changes things. I find it interesting. But like what Carey said, I feel like it can only help. Like, you're getting more knowledge in that locker room. I just think it's going to be interesting, and hopefully it pans out.
Yeah, so from a hockey perspective side of it, I think it's awesome. Mm-hmm. I think it's awesome. You've got Drew Bannister, to your point, very confident. Mm-hmm. I mean, last year when he came in, he was unfazed. Yeah. He never coached a game in the NHL before. He came in unfazed, started to apply the things that he wanted to do with the team. When he wasn't happy, he benched guys. He held guys accountable. It was never personal.
And that's without knowing what his future held. Yeah. Like, he did what he felt was right for that team in that moment, not worrying about how is this going to look on me for the future. So I agree.
Yeah, and he coached fearlessly.
Yes.
And I think that was part of the allure for Doug Armstrong and Alex Steen and the front office when they hired Drew Bannister is this guy's not rattled. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm really curious to find out about who introduced Claude Julien to the chat, right? Like, was it Army said, because Claude Julien has coached a lot of Team Canada stuff. Mm-hmm. And obviously Army's big into the Hockey Canada side of things. Was it Army that said, hey, I'd like you to talk to Claude? Or was it Drew Bannister that said, hey, you know what? I'd like to talk to Claude Julien. Mm. Or maybe Army said, hey, I'd like you to talk to Claude. And Drew Bannister was like, yes, that's my guy. Nice. Like, I don't know how that went down. We are going to find out. Again, Coach Drew Bannister will be with us at 4:30 today. But Claude Julien brings an unbelievable fountain of knowledge. Mm-hmm. Like, it's unreal for anybody to just bounce some ideas off of him. And one thing about a guy who's coached that long in the NHL or the NFL, they've made so many mistakes along the way that they remember those mistakes and they can offer, advice or thoughts, or they've lived that moment. Correct. So, like, if it's a close game or a playoff game and Drew Bannister is unsure about something, or he's bouncing ideas off of the coaching staff, Claude Julien's going to carry a big voice. Correct. Because he's been there, done that. His personality's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I don't know many people that don't like him. So I think that the assistant coach role might actually help him even more, because Claude's a real funny guy, likes to have a good time. And when you're the head coach, you got to button it down a little bit sometimes. So I think the players are going to get a great version of Claude.
I wonder if this is going to be somewhat of like a symbiotic relationship where Drew Bannister will end up receiving just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to being an NHL head coach. And then in the process, you have Claude Julien, who, if he shows what he can do, perhaps he'll be another head coach. Maybe, it could be a year from now, it could be 2 years from now. I just think it could be a beneficial relationship, whereas, on the flip side, you have that looming presence. I think ultimately it's going to work out for the Blues. You can't go wrong with having more brain trust within your group. Like, you can't go wrong with that.
Well, one thing, too, is the coaching staff is young. Right? Like Drew Bannister, Steve Ott, Mike Weber, they're all in and around the same age bracket. Now you've added an elder statesman to the group. So you're going to get a different point of view. Mm-hmm. And maybe, like, every great company, every great team, you cannot all agree. If you all agree, like, forget it. You're going to hit failure somewhere, because you don't always have the right answer. So in this particular case, there's that healthy pushback, different set of eyeballs, been through a lot, seen a lot, knows a lot about the Eastern Conference teams too.
What does he add? Talking about Claude Julien, what does he add? Is it helping with the 5-on-5 play that struggled last year? We saw the power play struggle at times defensively. What is his forte? What is he going to bring to the
offense?
Team? Okay, offense.
He always coached really high speed offensive plays, great power play. I don't even know if the power play was incredible every year he was there in Boston. And now he had some good players, but you got some good players here too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe you don't have Patrice Bergeron. You got Robert Thomas. You got to find yourself a Pasternak. Somebody's going to have to do that. But nonetheless, Claude Julien, he's a real up-tempo, speed kind of hockey guy.
Does that Does that make you think the Blues are going to go that direction of high-octane offense rather than the physical side of things, or can it be a blend of both?
It's going to be mostly going back to, if you watch the Boston Bruins over the last 10 years, they got the puck into the offensive zone quickly, and then they went to work. Mm-hmm. It wasn't necessarily off the rush. It was moving the puck to transition game. Get it from your end to the neck to the far end as fast as possible and go to work. So it wasn't like just go and run the horses and off the rush the whole time. Mm-hmm. If the rush chance is there, obviously you're going to take it. But if it's not there, you can't force it. And you watch the Boston Bruins, you watch Pasternak, you watch Marchand, Bergeron, Krejci. They were cycle the puck, hang on to it, cycle the puck, get the defenseman involved. Any team Claude Julien coached, the defensemen were always heavily involved in the offense. Mm-hmm. And maybe Claude Julien, by the way, guys, head coach in Boston when he had Torrey Krug. So maybe there's something there that can be unlocked with that relationship to bring things back to where Torrey Krug's a bigger piece of the puzzle now. You know, who knows? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I love the hire. I am curious to talk to Drew Bannister. Again, that's at 4:30 today. And ask him his thoughts throughout the process and, you know, what he's looking forward to. Either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, talking to Drew Bannister at 4:30. It's the Fast Lane here. When we come back, we're going to get into what's trending on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals defeated the Atlanta Braves yesterday in Game 2 of the doubleheader, a 4-1 victory. Matthew Liberatore went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, struck out 8. The Cards will take on the Cincinnati Reds tonight. Miles Michaelis on the mound going up against Andrew Abbott. First pitch is at 6:45. We just talked about it, but the Blues have named Steve Ott. They have promoted him to associate coach, and Claude Julien joins the Blues staff as an assistant coach. We'll talk with head coach Drew Bannister at 4:30. And if you missed our conversation earlier about Claude Julien joining the staff, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have What's Trending coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the SportsCenter update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, we were just talking about Claude Julien joining the Blues. We got a text at the end of that segment from the 636. Dick Vermeil said he wanted a coach and coaches on his staff who could replace him. It looks like Drew Bannister is taking that same route. If they are on the same page, this will be great for the team.
Yeah, Anthony always talks about that too, and I will give him full credit. And Carey, maybe you have said it before, but I've just been with Anthony a couple of years and I hear him say it all the time, is he's like, Steve Spagnuolo came in and surrounded himself with terrible coaches because he was always afraid that somebody's going to take his job. Yeah. And then you got Dick Vermeil talking about hiring guys that could take his job. It makes sense. If you're going to get the most out of your team, the most out of your staff, they have to be competent human beings.
Well, you have to be a competent human being.
That's a good point.
They start there. Like, you have to be...
You're a big fan of Spags, huh?
Well, listen. I think Randy told me that there was a story where Spags was on vacation and he never let them clean his office and came back from vacation because he didn't want anyone in his office. They were trying to clean it, like off-season cleaning. Like, he's like, no, ended vacation, got to go home.
That's weird.
Yeah, a little bit. No. So, I think it was Spags. Randy, if he's listening, he'll text it. But either way... You should have coaches on your staff that are competent, that are capable. If, people that you can bounce ideas off of and you can ask questions if you're unfamiliar, unsure, uncertain. And even if you are certain, having that voice behind you that affirms what you're already thinking helps as well. So I think having Claude Julien on the staff is going to help the Blues. It's going to help Drew Bannister. It's really essentially, you can count last year, but essentially a first-year head coach in the NHL. And so you have veteran leadership on your bench that will be able to help you in games, in practices, and film and studying and all the things that are required to make this team great.
Ultimately, that's what you have to do, is think about the team.
Yes.
Can't think about yourself as an individual. As awkward as it might be to have a guy that is so good at what he's done for so long and won a Stanley Cup, you got to put that in the back. You put it in the back over here. Don't bother with it because your team needs to make the playoffs this year.
You got to win.
And that's what it's got to be all about, the team.
You got to win.
Yep.
Well, a team that did not win Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, the Edmonton Oilers. Their general manager, now former general manager, Ken Holland, has mutually parted ways with the franchise. Jeff Jackson, the Oilers CEO of hockey operations, said the decision to not extend Holland's contract was mutual. And this has been an interesting season and postseason for the NHL because of how long it took to finish the season. I don't think we're used to seeing the NHL go almost into July, and now the offseason is approaching here in a few days. We have the NHL draft coming up. Tomorrow. They don't have a general manager. What is going on with the Edmonton Oilers?
Yeah, so Ken Holland, when he went there, he said, I'm going here for X amount of years. That's it. Like, when that's done, I'm done. And there's nothing wrong with what Ken Holland did, but he also doesn't want to go through this draft and this free agency season knowing he's leaving right after. Like, whoever goes through it, it's their plan now. Does that make sense? Like, think about it, Carey. Imagine if you were to take over something, and one of the biggest parts of the year is the draft and free agency that are piggybacked right on top of each other this year, and you know you're leaving.
Yeah, you probably
Where's your
don't.
give a crap meter?
Nah, it's very low.
Maybe you'll be a little more risky. Yeah, let's give this guy $5 million. You know, whatever. Like, wouldn't you rather hand it off to the next guy who's got the vision for the next 5 years?
Probably. You should. Do you think that having, 10 free agents, unrestricted free agents, and your second best player on your team coming up in a year might have something to do with the stress level and I'm good.
Yeah,
Wish
maybe.
we'd have won the cup, but, we made it. Yeah, I got to go, fellas.
But listen, Ken Holland, for me, is one of the most respected general managers in the NHL. I absolutely loved playing for this guy.
Yeah.
It was unreal. He was the first GM to basically say, hey, we're signing you. Here's your role. Here's my vision for you. Here's how you're going to succeed. And if you do these things, you'll be here longer. And he wasn't wrong. The end of my first year in Detroit, I went into his office to end of the year exit meetings.
Yeah.
And he sat down, he says, well, kid, you held up your end of the deal. He goes, I'd like to extend you 2 more years.
Awesome.
I hadn't had a 2-year contract extension in like 6 years.
Yeah.
I was on 1-year deal, 1-year deal, 1-year deal. Stress levels were high.
Always.
And he offers me this deal. And I laughed. I said, oh, you giving me Nick Lidstrom's money? And he goes, yeah, you're half as good as him. I said, deal. Liddy was making $10 million. He goes, no. He goes, and then he laughs. He goes, by the way, this contract is not negotiable.
Oh.
He goes, I'm giving you a 2-year deal. It's a one-way contract. You'll be on this team.
Yeah.
It's not negotiable.
Yeah.
He goes, we need you to take this money right here so we can keep winning.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. It was a raise. I was like,
Yeah.
you kidding me? So anyways, Ken Holland, nothing but respect for the guy. He had a plan. He had a number of years that he committed to the Oilers. He fulfilled his duty, and that's it.
Well, it makes me really respect what the Blues did. They had a plan, and they executed that plan in terms of setting up for the future of their front office.
Yep.
So when you look at a team like Edmonton, I don't think they have a succession plan. So it really...
I think they do. They just haven't made it public.
They haven't made it public?
Yeah. You'd be an absolute idiot not to have a succession plan. Like, come on. Maybe they are stupid. I don't know.
There are teams out there.
It has happened.
It has happened. Last thing here. Ron Washington, he is always good for a nice soundbite. And I sent this to the group chat earlier. And
loved it.
This is Ron Washington talking about Zach Neto's day at the plate. Take a listen and let's discuss.
Well, what he showed me what he could do is quit trying to hit the ball out the ballpark and make contact. I've been talking to him about that all day. He was looking at his iPad, and I said, you're not going to find an answer in that iPad. The answer is you swinging, and you're looking at me every time you swing. All you got to do is put the head on the ball, and he did it. He did it. But that's what he should have been doing all day. And he ended up 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Game winners.
Thoughts on that? Don't look at the iPad.
I mean, the funny thing that I find this so interesting because you sent you or Jamie sent another article with George Brett, was it?
George Brett.
Talking about hitting. It's always interesting to me to hear former players, people that have done it, and just the aspect of hitting, not trying to swing for the fences, not trying to have launch angle. You hit the ball, you're generally going to have success, and then it's going to go out the yard. It's always interesting to hear that. I love listening to Ron Washington. I could sit there and hear him talk about baseball and the things that he tries to get these younger players to understand, that if you just do what you're asked to do or what you're coached to do, life is a lot easier that way.
So several players from around Major League Baseball have also echoed that from other teams. Guys have talked about when Ron Washington is at an all-star game or at league meetings or whatever they're doing, and he'll grab guys on other teams and talk to them and say, hey, I was noticing this.
Right.
I think if you did this, or here's a couple things you could... but this guy's not even my coach.
Right.
So I think that his voice carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I'm sure the Angels, some of the players don't like it at times because he's old school and hardcore.
Yeah.
But
You don't like it, play better.
You got to listen, man.
He told you nothing you're looking at going to help you in that iPad, sir.
He's right.
You can't take it up to the plate with you.
No.
How about you do what I tell you to do, and it might help you a little bit better.
I think that's where we're at right now, is that everything is so focused in one direction with the video and the analytics and all that stuff. Like when analytics came in, I feel like hitting got better. And let me explain. I feel like you had that old school approach mentality along with some added information of video and analytics. Now it's gone so far the other way that you've got video analytics and then maybe an old school suggestion. Which is kind of, I don't know if I want to listen to that.
Right.
I think that some of the guys that are having the most success are finding a way to blend both the old school or the simple approach to hitting and then coupling that with valid information and video that can help them.
We always talk about how difficult it might be for the players to take that information in and then go apply it. I wonder how difficult it is for the older managers to take that information and teach it, because you can't really teach something that's on a spreadsheet.
I think a guy like Ron Washington, and I do a lot of this too, I find the analytics that are actually important.
Yeah.
Don't fluff me with the expected this and maybe this and the what. No. I need the analytics that matter.
Yeah.
And you look at the analytics, and then the manager, the old school manager, will watch the player through video or live and go, okay, I know the problem now. Or let's try this because this number is not coinciding with the way you're swinging the bat. So we found the problem. Now let's work on it.
Analytics are useful. Like it's a percentage.
It's
like
a
if
tool.
you're a basketball player, you're 60% from this spot. You know why? You're probably 60 because you shoot more shots from there, and you're actually good from shooting from that
Maybe
spot.
you practice more.
And
in
you
that one
practice
spot.
it more, probably, which is why you're probably better at this spot. So same thing with a swing. If you're good at these in this location, look for pitches there. If it's out of your zone, swinging at it it's not gonna help you. So I think, there is room for analytics, but the player on the field has to make those adjustments in real time. And if you're unable to do that, you're not gonna have success.
He's Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh on the dials, Jamie Rivers. Last night in the second game, Oli Marmol said, you know what, we need to go get Matthew Liberatore. But he didn't. We'll talk about that next here on 101 ESPN. We'll have to get into what Oli Marmol was talking about regarding Matthew Liberatore in a bit, because right now it's time for the lineup. Gentlemen, are we ready?
Do it.
Marshy, give us an update here on the pitching for today, please.
All right, so we have Andrew Abbott. He is a left-handed pitcher.
Oh, baby.
All right.
The LHP. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
All right. I think that this is your guy, Carey, so
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go ahead.
Show us Mason Wynn.
I'm watching the Futures game, and this thing's all over Instagram. It's like, this guy threw a ball 100 across the time. That's awesome, but, like, how many throwing errors does he have?
Shut up!
All right, so we think lefty on lefty crime here. Burley, we leaving him in?
We should.
I think so, too.
Yep.
Show us that big Burley guy.
Kind of closed my eyes and swung at it and did what I wanted to do.
Burley to the rescue!
Okay. This was Wilson Contreras, was it not, yesterday?
I believe so.
I don't see any reason why we take Big Willie out.
Keep him in.
Absolutely. Well said. Show us Wilson Contreras.
DH. No.
Check. All right. Paul Goldschmidt?
Should be.
Goldie made some contact
He did.
yesterday.
Drove in a run.
He's running that big frame around the bases, too.
Yeah.
Show us that gold.
Gold! Rich with gold!
Okay, this was Donnie Boy.
Brendan Donovan.
You think it's a rinse repeat?
Why not? It's working.
Okay.
Amazing how that
Okay,
works.
Carey.
Show us Brendan Donovan.
No.
I can't say anything because I felt like it was going to be
You think
Donnie.
it's going to be Nolan Arenado?
I think it's Nolan Arenado coming right here.
You call it.
I don't know why it would be.
I don't know
feel
why
like
it
that's what
wouldn't
he's
be.
doing.
It should be.
Show me. Nolan Arenado.
He's a Gold Glove winner and perennial All-Star.
Oh, listen to Mr. Gold Glove over here.
Come on.
Okay, so
This is probably
this is
Donnie.
Donnie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Show us Brendan Donovan.
Donnie.
Hey, this headband's pretty cool.
Okay, this is where it gets muddy now.
Don't say that.
Well, it always does because the bottom three, it's like, are we doing two catchers in the lineup?
Not today. Wilson played, was a DH yesterday. Paez got an opportunity yesterday.
All
I don't
right.
think you have two
Is,
catchers.
is Gorman playing? Lefty on lefty? I don't know. I think Gorman's playing. I think Ollie's
I
going
think
to let him
Dylan
work
Carlson
through
is
this.
playing.
Maybe, yeah, instead of Ciani with lefty on the bump. Yeah, but that's going to be lower.
Later. Or you want to go? You want to go, Gorman? You have at it.
Show
you
me
like
that.
popcorn.
Show me that popcorn.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I told you.
Okay, there it is.
I tried to tell you. Tried to stop you there.
I know you did, but I ignored the stop
You
sign,
just kept running.
and I paid for it.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so 7.
I mean, if Gorman isn't playing, then who's playing second base?
Donovan.
Is he playing second base?
For me.
For me?
Freddie
You
for me?
want to go for me?
It's
Or,
right
you want, or
back
do you want to go Dylan Carlson? Because he's probably in the lineup.
in the 7 hole.
Well, who else you got?
I don't know.
Yeah, Matt Carpenter's another option. He's a lefty.
and Crawford's a lefty.
There you go.
This is for me.
You have at it.
Show us the Furminator.
What a shame.
Yeah, it sure is, Janet. What do you think it is?
I
What are you
said it 3
shrugging
times.
your shoulders and looking
I
at me?
said it 3 times.
What?
Dylan Carlson.
Go ahead.
Show us Dylan Carlson.
I was built like a linebacker.
I give up. I give up. Son of a. All right, so now what?
That's a very good question. I didn't get that far.
Gorman? Gorman's probably out.
He's probably out.
He's
Fermin
probably
here. Fermin and Ciani. I think Ciani plays, regardless of lefty versus lefty.
Well, right now your outfield would be Burleson, Donovan, and Carlson.
Well, one of them might be DHing. Probably Burleson.
Unless Paez is here.
Do you want to score? You want to hit?
Of course I do.
Okay. Fermin was hitting really well.
All right, go ahead.
Show us Jose Fermin.
I'll be back.
There you go. All right. You're so passionate about it. You beat me into submission. Okay, so then this would be Michael Ciani?
Well, who's DHing?
Well, it's either Burleson. No, it's Burleson that's DHing.
You think
or
he's the
Arenado.
DH? You think he's tired?
I don't know. Play a lot of baseball. Could be tuckered out.
So this is either Ciani. I don't think it's Paez. I think Wilson is catching.
Yeah, it's not Paez at this point. I think you're right.
So probably Ciani.
All right. I'm okay with that, Carey.
Show
us
super bad.
Super bad.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Siani's not playing, clearly.
Yep. So Carlson's in center field. Donovan in left. Burley in right.
Then Pajes is playing.
And Pajes.
And DH is
right.
Wilson.
Let's try Petey Pages, please. Wow. The double catcher really screws up our lineup game. Like it does. Because every time, every game, we have to try and figure out, is it one catcher or two?
Yeah. It throws it off.
Run it, Marsh.
All right, leading off, the shortstop, Mason Wynn, batting second in right field. Alec Burleson batting third, the DH. Wilson Contreras, your cleanup hitter, first baseman. Paul Goldschmidt batting fifth, third baseman. Nolan Arenado batting sixth in left field. Brendan Donovan batting seventh in center. Dylan Carlson batting eighth, second baseman Jose Fermin, and batting ninth, catching Pedro Pajes.
Stay fair! Go fair! Go fair!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Home run.
Okay, Marshy, we're all still in the same spot. Nobody's had a home run in ages.
The Cardinals haven't had a home run in ages.
You're right.
I don't feel like.
All right,
What's
who's
the
up?
score? Can we get a score update?
Oh, yeah,
I don't know
Go
the
ahead with
score.
an update. Sure. Carey, you know, I just got to get an update here.
Need a little time.
I got to sign in still. I got to pull it
Marshy's
up.
logged
Give
out.
me a second.
You didn't get logged out? How did that
Well,
happen?
let's go through it then, because we're up against it.
All right.
So, Marshy, who's up?
You are up.
All right. Piddles Predicts handed me the game sheet today.
That you keep tucked away in a...
Yeah, well, I got it tucked away in some secret places, Carey. You're free to look around if you'd like. We got Wilson Contreras today. Big righty bat, lefty on the bump. Piddles and I like Contreras.
I'm going to go with the lefty on lefty crime. Give me Alec Burleson.
I'm thinking the same. Give me Brendan Donovan.
Did Anthony send his picks in?
I don't believe he did. Should we give him
right.
Pedro Pajes or Jose Fermin?
No,
Give him Matt Carpenter.
Honestly, I would give him Goldschmidt. Goldie's been barreling the ball. Launch angle's not great, but this guy here, left-handed pitching, Goldie traditionally mangles lefty pitchers. Our guy Anthony needs a little help. We're gonna give him Paul Goldschmidt.
He does need help. Here are the current standings. Jamie, you and I are tied with 13 points. Carey has 5, and Anthony has 3.
There we go. All right. That's your lineup. Cardinals and Reds tonight here in St. Louis. We're going to go back to a segment that we just jumped over real quick, is what Oli Marmol said about his thoughts during the game last night when he thought about taking Matthew Liberatore out of the game. That's next here on 101 ESPN.
Our thought was keep him somewhere around 70 to 75. He wanted to go back out for another inning. He felt so good. So this is a resilient arm, loves to throw, throws every day. He'll probably tell you he's available tomorrow. He punches out 2 guys before him. I was ready to go out there, but it's one of those times where you can instill a decent amount of confidence if he walks off the mound himself. And he was able to do that, man. To his credit, he was incredible tonight.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here, 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, clearing his throat. Andrew Marsh and Jamie River. It's okay, Carey. For the first 2 years of my radio career, we'll call it, I just did it. And Anthony would always look at me like, you have a button. I'm like, yeah, I just can't remember.
Yeah.
I just did.
I pushed the button. It didn't do anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, we had a talk yesterday, you and I and Marshy, about the pitch count and eating up innings and what the analytics say and the numbers and the wearing out arms. And we went back and forth for about 10 minutes. Then Oli Marmol last night is faced with the exact situation that we were debating. The exact situation. The numbers told him, go get him. And he didn't. He listened to his gut.
Yeah,
not the iPad.
Or me.
Or Carey Davis. It's a better choice for sure. My bad. But what do you make of that? Like, I know you were beating the drum all day yesterday about, let him pitch and leave him out there. Oli does it. It's the longest Liberatore's ever pitched in a game. And it works out.
We were talking about it yesterday. It's funny that it played out that exact same way. Excuse me. It played out the exact same way that
it gets choked up.
I just get so excited about my Brit Burns. Whether or not we continue to let him go on, is it the innings? Is it the number of pitches? How does he look? And I think at the end of the day, that's what Oli went with. He looks like he's okay. He's ready. He's a young man. He can pitch today again if we needed him to. That's the mindset that Matthew Liberatore has. That's what Oli said. So let him finish it. He was doing a great job. He only allowed 2 hits, walked 1 batter, struck out 8, was doing a great job. No need to go out there and save him from what? What are you saving him from? For me, allowing him to finish that inning, allowing him to finish what he started, it only gives that player more confidence. And again, this game, all of these, when you are a professional athlete, it's about confidence. How do you feel? Everybody has talent. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. Are you confident? Are you able to do the same thing over and over again and not worry about a bad inning, a bad pitch, a bad moment, a ball hit over the fence? Do you lock back in? And I think Matthew Liberatore found something last night. His manager allowed him to find it and allowed him to stay with it and did not take him out of the game. That will do nothing but give that young man more confidence the next time he goes out.
I agree with that. We get an interesting text, by the way, to the Air Comfort Service text line. Text anytime throughout the show. That number's 314-399-9646. This one from the 314 says, he leaves Libby out there but takes Sonny out in a spot like that? What is his decision-making process? So, here's what I'm going to say to our listener from the 314. You can't love Oli when he has a gut feeling and leaves Liberatore in, and then hate Oli when he has the gut feeling of it's time to go get a guy. You can't.
Because you'll be managing and micromanaging every single decision.
Not just that, then Oli will never make the right decision.
Correct. In that person's eyes.
And so for the Sonny Gray argument on this one, yeah, the pitch count, he could have let him pitch a little longer. But maybe there's stuff that we don't know that Oli was seeing in his delivery. Maybe Oli was talking to the catcher in between innings, and the catcher's like, hey, he's probably got about an inning left. Some of his stuff is starting to leak. It doesn't have the same zip. He's not dotting it like he was. Like this, all of this, by the way, happens in a game. Right. The catcher always talks to the pitching coach when they go down to the dugout between innings. They always have a breakdown of the last inning. And so maybe Oli, watching Sonny Gray, said, you know what? We have the guys right now in the bullpen. I'm going to go get them. So you can't love him for having the gut instinct once and then hate him for doing it when he takes a guy out.
Yeah, I don't have a – I mean, I'm like you said, you'll be micromanaging every single decision. And Sonny Gray, I'm assuming they're talking about the Giants, where he had a perfect game going and then gave up the home run. He got the next batter out, and then the next inning he was out of the game. Yeah. Which I'm fine with. He was at 80 pitches. He gave up a home run, struck the next guy out. what it is, it's not about, to me, again, it's not about how many innings did he pitch, it could be about the pitches, but more so about how he looks. Is he fatigued after 80 pitches? Is he going to be fatigued? He threw 80 pitches in 7 innings. He's probably going to have to go throw another 12 to 15 to get out of that next inning if there's no trouble. Right, if there's no trouble. So now you're looking at 95 pitches. So I think you take all of that information, you look at your player, you ask them how they feel. He had a good performance. I think those are two totally different situations from what you got from Sonny and what you got from Liberatore. Two different reactions and responses from the manager as well.
I think what this texter is talking about is not the game against the Giants, but the game against the Marlins, which you were in a very similar situation. Hell, I think the score was even the same.
Okay.
To where you take Sonny Gray out, and then those 2 runners get on, and then the home run is given up. Tie ball game. You then go to extra innings, and you wear your bullpen out. Where this was a game where you had already used bullpen arms in game 1 of the doubleheader. So you want to leave him in, and I wonder if it's a thing where Oli Marmol is learning from the previous. I'd call it a mistake because he took Sonny Gray out, and then they end up giving up the lead. So
what about the thought that, I don't know how to word this properly. What about the thought that there might be a little more hyper awareness surrounding Sonny Gray and his pitch count, his total pitches, his injury that he had? Because you're going to want this guy. He's your first pitcher in the playoffs.
For sure.
Right? And if he wears out in the middle of September or something, you left him in just a couple times too long, does some damage. What about the thought about that, and then the thought of, it's Liberatore. It's not we don't care about him, but he's a bullpen arm for us. And you know what? He's dealing right now. I'm going to leave him out. I just don't know if there was as much of the hyper awareness of where they're at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
I think I would agree with what Marshy said. Maybe he learned from that mistake, taking Sonny Gray out. JoJo giving up, he gave up a home run, right?
Yeah, but I can't. Carey, I have a hard time with that because you're taking Sonny Gray out of the ball game to put JoJo Romero, who's been one of your best relievers. It's not like Oli put in whoever from the minors.
I agree. But to give your starting pitcher, who is performing really well up to that point, an opportunity to get out of the inning, I think that's the lesson that he learned. You know what? I did this a couple of weeks ago with Sonny. Let me give this young man an opportunity to get out of the inning. And if that's the case, then you shouldn't be upset with, well, why didn't he do it 2 weeks ago? Because I learned from it. I ran into a brick wall and realized, you know what? I can go around it. I can go over it. Actually, I can do a lot of things than trying to go through it. That's part of being that's part of learning. Whatever you're doing in life is learning from the mistakes from the past, and maybe that's what he did.
Yeah, I'm willing to accept that as well. I'm willing to accept all of the above, quite honestly. And I'm just going to go back to my very first point, is you can't love Oli when he makes one decision and hate him when he makes a different one. You just can't, because you don't know all of the things that go into each decision. And if it is gut decisions that he's making, if it's strictly on gut, you can't love him again for one gut decision and hate him for another.
Yeah.
You have to that's when you have to trust the manager.
And that's so hard to do here, isn't it? I can do better. Can you? I don't know.
Exactly.
I think to the original text, though, I wonder if the listener is wondering about the process of, okay, what is Oli Marmol's process? We talked about it yesterday when I mentioned Dan Campbell. It seemed like he had the same thought process and he was consistent with that.
How did that work out for him?
Exactly. So
sorry, Jamie.
I wonder if this listener is bringing up the fact that the process looked different than what it did a week ago.
Then you should be happy, because that process, they won that game, if I'm not mistaken. Was that the first game of the Miami?
That was the first game.
So they won in extras, but you learned from that process. You won this game without having to go to extra innings. Like you're getting better incrementally, game to game, week to week. Preferably month to month, and doing that throughout the entire season. And your team is better because of it.
Well, that's Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. We will all be watching and judging you, Oli. So don't you worry about that. Hey, the Blues have a player that is a great all-around player that has a year left on his contract. So we're going to talk about if it makes sense for the Blues to extend Pavel Buchnevich for more than 5 years. That's next here on 101 ESPN.
You're talking about a player who's going to be 30 when his contract kicks in with Buchnevich. So it's a situation where why would he be interested in a deal 3, 4, 5 years, and then he's looking for another deal when he's 34 or 35? It doesn't make sense. So he's going to be looking for the term, I believe. And I've thrown out the number to people who are kind of involved in the situation, $8 million. And I think that, in the ballpark. Nobody sneezed at that number. So I think that $8 million is in the ballpark. To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense for the Blues. Sure, it makes you competitive. Sure, he's a well-liked guy in the locker room. He's been a good, solid player for the Blues on the ice. But just from what they're doing, I don't know that arrangement makes sense. And if we listen to Doug Armstrong closely, a couple weeks ago when they named Alex Steen the GM in waiting, he said that, he and Alexander Steen, might not be in lockstep in certain situations and contract negotiations and things like that. So Doug Armstrong might want a Pavel Buchnevich on board for these next couple of years, where Steen doesn't think that's a good idea down the road.
It's a fast lane here at 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. That was Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic, joined us yesterday to talk Blues. And specifically in that moment, he was talking about Pavel Buchnevich. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. When he said, I've mentioned this number to several people, and they didn't sneeze at the $8 million mark. Oh, I sneezed.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Loud?
I launched a huge snot rocket.
Is that why your back was hurting?
Yeah.
And you blew... Turned your back out?
I did.
Okay.
He said Hak-Chu.
That's right. Much different than
the other one.
Yeah. However, Pavel Buchnevich is 29 years old, be 30 years old when this contract kicks in. He's currently making $5.8 million. Mm-hmm. When I compare Pavel Buchnevich's numbers to other guys around the league that are making $8 million, they don't quite match up.
Okay.
They just don't. I like him as a player, but here's where I go with this. I like him as a player. At 6.5, maybe even 7, I like him fine. At 8, like Robert Thomas is making 8, 8.1. Robert Thomas is your best player on the team, and he'll be even better next year. And you can't tell me that Pavel Buchnevich is the same as Robert Thomas. Now, the argument is, well, Kyrie's making 8.1. I understand that. We're all just going to have to accept the fact that
that happened,
that those contracts were going to be twinning, and that's the decision that the front office made when they gave those extensions out. For me, Pavel Buchnevich is a very, very good player. He's a very good 200-foot player. $8 million?
Feels too much for you?
Yeah, it does. And especially if you're thinking, so let's think about this. If he gets the 7 years or 8 years that he's looking for, how's that $8 million going to look past the age of 35?
That's the more concerning part for me. Like the numbers, not whatever, but the number of years to me, because when you're 36, 37, 38 years old on the tail end and making $8 million a year, Jamie, we understand when you get older, it gets harder. Like it feels like you're moving in mud. Like I know I used to be faster than this. Why doesn't my body want to do it? Yeah, you can't.
The brain's going, but the body isn't.
Your body says, nah, you don't have that in you anymore. And so to be doing that at 36, 37 years old, I think that to me is more of the concern than the $8 million a year. If that's the number and it's for 5 years. Are you okay with that?
I'm fine at 5 years.
But for me, the 8 years feels like too many years for a player that's going to be 30 next season.
Yeah, he'd be 38 at the end of that deal, turning 39. And at 5 years. So if Army wants to get creative here and say, hey, look, Pav, we'll give you that $8 million, but it's only going to be 5 years or 4 or 5 years, whatever the case, right? You'll get that money, but it's going to be for 5 years. And I know Buch's camp's going to push for more. And if I'm Army, I say, okay, years 6, 7, 8, that means we have to bring down what you make annually. So if you want to sign for $7 million, we'll do 8 years.
Right.
If you want to sign for 6.5, we'll do 8 years.
Right.
We cannot do 8 times 8. Well, cannot put $64 million into an aging player.
What do you do? I mean, I'm probably taking that. Unless he feels like he can get 8 for 8 somewhere else.
But here's the thing. He won't get 8 years anywhere else.
Oh, well.
Because the team that owns his rights is the only team that can offer an 8-year deal. Well. Now, he can get 7 years times 8 somewhere else. But then the argument Army has is, well, you're already deleting a year from the contract.
Correct.
Like, why not get the 8 years, but let's take down your AAV so that we can put good hockey players around you.
Do you, what is the average age, like when for hockey, when does because 30 for a running back, we're trying to find a new one, right? 32, 33 for DBs, we're trying to find a new one. Quarterbacks, you can play into your 40s, 38, 39 year, but generally that's the only position where when you're 35 plus, people still think you have an ability to be successful. For hockey, what is that age cutoff?
Honestly, it's probably somewhere around 33. I mean, I'm being honest. He used to be like 37, 38, you know? But the way things go, look around the league. Find your 35-year-old or 33-year-old plus player that's not an outlier. Look at the average of it. You're going to see decline in their game. You're going to see a lot of guys that were scorers that are now third-line guys or fourth-line guys, like that just can't contribute like they used to. But they're still valuable players, but just in a lesser role. But some of those guys are making the money. That's where teams have made the mistake. Is they've got years 6, 7, and 8 coming up with a certain player that's making $7, $8, even $9 million at times. So I love Pavel Buchnevich, the player and the individual. He's an awesome guy. I think he's great for this team. I think at 5 years, I'm here all day long. All day long. At 6, you better lower the dollar value a little bit because the product's going to start to dip. 7 and 8, I'm just not going there.
Too much.
It's just too much for that. For if it's $8 million, like Jeremy Rutherford's saying, I feel like that's just too much.
We got a question from Alex in the Snake Pit. Is it that Kyrou and Buchnevich aren't worth $8 million a year, or is it just that Thomas's deal is exceptional? I mean, Braden Shen makes $6.5 million a year, and he isn't even close to Buch.
Well, it's also 6.5. So if you're going to say he's not even close, one would argue that, to be honest. You know, you look at what Braden Shen brings to the table from like all of the elements. Now, but he's also older, too. He's 32. So there you go, okay? Let's talk about this. Love Braden Shen. Probably my favorite guy on the team. Stand-up guy, great guy, great player, great captain. He's 32, and we saw a little bit of a dip last year, guys. Plays a physical game, 200-foot game, you know, all that's a little bit of a dip. Now, will there be a little bit of a dip again next year? I don't know. Maybe.
Probably.
We'll see. But at 6.5, you can stomach the dips. At $8 million, and this is 32 for Braden Shen. Pavel Buchnevich will be 30 when it starts. So that's a 2-year little window right there. So it's to me, it's not that Buchnevich are not as good as Thomas, or they're because he's the top player.
It's the age.
It's the age,
and that's the part that people have to like. You always have to. That always plays. Like the younger, if you're younger, you're considered to be able to play much longer. The older you get, it's harder. It's harder on your body. By the time Buchnevich is done, if he gets an 8-year deal, he would have played close to 1,000 games, over 1,000 games. He's at 500 right now.
Let's see, 8 times 8, 600. Yeah, if he played, but that's okay. So
if he played, if he's able to play,
he's been injured a couple of times throughout the last couple of seasons too. So that's a whole other, not problem. It's a whole other issue you have to look at. So I just I like the player at 5 years. I would do that deal in a heartbeat. Past 5 years, I'm just hesitant. And I hope Buch sticks it where the sun don't shine. I do, because that means he'll be successful. He'll wear the blue note, and things will be going pretty well here for the Blues. But one more thing I want to highlight here is Vladimir Tarasenko, 32 years old. Did Vladdy look like a difference maker to you guys this year? No, for real. Did he?
I think he scored big-time goals when the Panthers needed him. And Paul Maurice even said, I don't need him scoring a ton of goals. I need him to score at least one goal around. And when he did score, they came at huge pivotal moments within that, especially the Stanley Cup and the Eastern Conference Final. But from a season-long standpoint, I don't think so.
So he was a $5 million cap hit last year on a 1-year deal. And he ended up with 23 goals.
Like from a 82-game standpoint, that's not good enough.
But he's 32, going to be 33.
Yeah.
And that's Vladimir Tarasenko. He's a great skater, highly skilled player. It's starting to dip.
Right.
It's my point.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are in the NHL. Even the guys who are elite, you start to see a dip. So, I don't know. I love the deal at 5 years. At 8 years, I'm just hesitant. That's all.
Would you be surprised if they moved on from him at the trade deadline next year?
Well, yeah. I mean, if they don't get a deal done,
would that be the better decision as opposed to 8 years if that's what he's standing on?
If you can't get your number, then if I'm Army, I'm walking into the season saying you got a 1 year. You're on your last year.
Yeah.
Why not trade him this offseason then?
You probably need him. Like, if you're going to continue this retool and heading in the right direction, a guy like Pavel Buchnevich is going to play a big part in it. And if he's only got 1 year left on his deal, he's going to be highly motivated, too.
True.
So you see where he can get your group by the trade deadline. If you're solidified in the playoffs, then maybe you talk extension with Pavel Buchnevich at that point, at Christmas or whatever it is, right? All-Star break. You start to talk to his agent, say, hey, look, we'd like to get this done. We were shying away from $8 million before. We're willing to do it now, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Or if the team is not in the playoffs, now you move him for whatever you can get, and you've used his abilities for, almost 3/4 of the season at that point. I don't, like I said, love the player, not thrilled with 8 years.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Doug Armstrong, Alex Steen, they're going to have their hands full here over the next handful of days with the draft and free agency and all that stuff happening. Good luck to you guys. Appreciate all you do. All right, coming up next here in the Fast Lane, we're going to dive into the sports six-pack. So get your questions to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Text in your questions. We'll get to those next.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals took 2 of 3 against the Atlanta Braves. They won 4-1 last night in Game 2 of the day-night doubleheader. Matthew Liberatore gave up 2 hits, went 6 innings, and struck out 8. The Cards will take on the Cincinnati Reds tonight. Miles Michaelis on the mound going up against Andrew Abbott. First pitch is at 6:45. Steve Ott has been promoted to associate head coach, and Claude Julien joins the Blues staff as an assistant coach. We'll also talk with Drew Bannister at 4:30. The Blues head coach will dive into what transpired today for the Blues and their coaching staff. We also talked about Claude Julien joining the Blues staff as an assistant coach. If you missed that segment, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. You'll find all of our interviews and full shows there, and it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our Sports Six-Pack coming up next, so if you have a question you want to send our way, do so using the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Sports Six-Pack coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. It's time for the Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 1.
We'll start off with the 661. What did you guys think about the Texas A&M coach, Jim Schlossnagle is his name, leaving for Texas, but basically roasting a reporter for asking about the rumors at the postgame? We did not talk about this, but the 661 is just curious to know, as you guys have been pros and now work in the media, what are your thoughts?
So I only caught a snippet of this, and I'm going to ask you guys if I'm correct in what I saw. It was the post game after the championship. He was asked if he was leaving for Texas. Correct. And he got angry at that reporter. Yeah. And then he left for Texas.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I got it right here. Okay, guys?
I thought it was classless, and I think that reporter was a young reporter as well. So, you know, talking to, I think it might have been a college young person that was following the team and reporting on it and you know, asking a valid question. Apparently. Because the reports, and you could tell by the response that he came back and said, oh, well, I apologized to him, and it was 30 minutes after the game, and I was only focused on my kids. No, you weren't. You were focused on going to Texas, and you were upset that somebody called you out and asked you about it. So I thought it was classless. I thought it was ridiculous for him to respond in that manner. You know, the simple answer is, you know, we just got out of a game. It was a tough loss for our team. I'm only focusing on that right now. I don't even have the capacity to think about anything other than those guys in that locker room right now. And you're out of it. The art of deflection. You didn't answer it. You didn't have to. But you're telling the truth about your guys in the locker room because you do feel bad about not winning a championship. But you didn't have to answer that, and you definitely didn't have to be so demeaning to that young man that asked the question. I thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah, one thing I've learned over the years as a player and then just an observer and now part of the media, treat the media with respect. Yeah. And you will get it in return. And there are markets that are tougher than others. I played in some pretty tough markets. Trust me. And anytime a reporter would like come at me with a question, I'd just be like, hey, like you said, I'd answer what I want to answer. Correct. And I would do it nicely. Correct. And then more often than not, that reporter, the follow-up question is not in an aggressive tone. Yeah. It's more like, oh, okay.
They didn't expect you to answer the question like that.
That's right. They're expecting fish on. Yeah. You know? And in this particular case, Carey, you're 100% right. All he has to say is, listen, man, right now I'm digesting a loss, and there's players in that room that are graduating that I'm never going to see again, that I've devoted a big amount of time to. You know, other things that are happening right now, we can discuss things like that in the future. Right now, it's just a tough time for us. Boom, and you're
That
done.
was it.
And that kid would have been like, you know what? Okay.
And then you shifted the energy, and now he may feel like, oh, that's a terrible question. I shouldn't have asked him that right
And
now.
then the next reporter goes, okay, well, we're not going to ask him about that.
Yeah.
Question number 2.
This one's probably for Carey from the 314. Who should the Steelers go after to shore up their wide receiver group? They have the cap space.
The Steelers aren't a team that really go after big-time free agents. So I don't think that they're going to do that. I mean, I like their core right now. They got a few guys that I think can get after the ball. Pat Freiermuth at tight end definitely is going to be one of their lead targets, because Russell Wilson is going to try to find some help over the middle. But I don't think that they need to necessarily go out and get anybody. They lost Deontay Johnson, who I think went to the Panthers. But I'm just excited. George Pickens is going to be a really good player for them. He's going to get more balls. They drafted Roman Wilson. And so I'm just excited about what they have right now. I don't think they need. I actually think Pittsburgh has a really good offense and good defense. And the one thing that they were lacking all last year was a quarterback. And I've never seen a team remove all 3 quarterbacks from their roster from the year before and that team be better the following year. Pittsburgh will be better the following year not having those 3 quarterbacks on their roster and having the 2 that they do.
Do they have 2 quarterbacks, or do they have a punt returner and a boxer? You sure? I saw that Russell Wilson is a boxer now.
Well, Russell Wilson is a boxer.
I seen him throw punches. He's not a boxer.
He is boxing. He's
boxing.
May not be a boxer.
Those look like fluffy pillows he was throwing.
Yeah,
hey, I've seen
working.
YouTube stars turn into boxers. Why can't we see a quarterback turn into one?
I'll take that fight any day of the year.
I've been waiting for him and Mike Tyson to fight. I need to see that.
Russell Wilson?
No. Jake Paul.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I said I'll take the Russell Wilson fight.
Fighting anybody.
Carey, you know these NFL guys. Get it, set it up. Me against Russell Wilson.
You got to wait till he retires.
No, right now.
We can't lose our starting quarterback, even though he might not be starting for too long. But either way,
I want to make some money.
Our quarterback. No,
he's got lots of money.
He doesn't want to fight you, Jamie.
Well, he's boxing. He's going to be a good fighter, no?
He's going to be okay. Steelers wide receiver core is good. Running back core, good. Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. They're going to be fine. Going to be damn good this year. Watch.
Question number 3.
It sounds like Jamie doesn't think so.
I hope so for you, Carey.
Whatever.
This could be, well, from the 913, what is a sports-related conspiracy theory that you believe in?
I don't believe in conspiracy theories as it pertains to sports.
I do.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
I do
The
not.
draft lottery.
Like this past one?
We don't just any of them.
I don't.
They all have it's always crazy how it works out a certain way.
Like weird how the Chicago Blackhawks got Connor Bedard.
At a time when Connor Bedard needed to go to a team that has a lot of visibility that sucks.
You think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You think that was planned?
Yes. Do you think okay.
Like
so let's
Sidney
go back.
Crosby.
What if Connor Bedard went to the Columbus Blue Jackets?
Then Columbus would be rocking. Ohio State would be fun. Columbus Blue Jackets
Ohio
would
State
be awesome.
would be fun.
They would have plenty of fans there.
Or what happens if he'd have went to the
horseshoe and
Arizona
go?
Coyotes?
They would probably still be in Arizona, Jamie.
Utah would love Connor Bedard right now.
Yeah. Imagine if he was on the Sharks.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, they'd beat us. Oh, they already did that.
Oh, Carey.
Next question. Next question. Just because I want to beat up Russell Wilson, he's mad at me.
Come on.
Unreal. All right. Well, you know what? I'm actually sick of this. We're going to go to a break. We'll get more of your six-pack next here at 101 ESPN.
question.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six Pack is now.
All right, we're back here with the rest of the Sports Six Pack here in the Fast Lane. Marshy, hit it.
Question number 4.
From the 314, did the Cardinals dodge a bullet by not bringing back Jordan Montgomery? And for context here, Jordan Montgomery today, 2 2/3, 84 pitches. He gave up 9 hits, 8 runs. 4 of those were earned. He walked 1 and struck out 1. He has a 6.03 ERA for the season.
I'd go get him.
Really?
Yeah, why not? What the hell? Like, who cares? You need a guy.
Do you need that guy?
Yeah, but
You think Mo is pounding his chest? You think he stands up in meetings and says, "Look at me. Told you we didn't need that guy." Huh?
I don't think he does that because then somebody says, well, we sure could use Jordan Hicks.
Well, you don't look over here, Jamie. Don't look over there.
We sure could use Jack Flaherty the way he's pitching
Look
this year.
over here. Look what I'm telling
If
you.
you're going to pound your chest, if you're going to pound it, Carey, like, you got to make sure you know. You know what I mean? And if you're unsure and you're pounding away, like, that could be a dangerous
You
situation.
should always be sure.
Yeah.
Make sure you know what's going on.
Yeah, I'd go get him, though. He's what? He got nothing left on the contract. Just a 1-year deal.
Yeah, Matthew Liberatore. Did you see him last night?
God,
He got a
Carey.
lefty.
I've
What are
never
you
seen
talking
it.
about?
Listen, you ever heard of the 2 words? Or 3? 4, actually. I did see that quickly.
I gotta hear the 4 words now. What?
Prisoner of the moment.
How did you get 2 out of that?
Because I was like, in my head, the only ones that matter were prisoner of moment. And then I go, wait, that's 3. No, wait, that's 4.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Oh, God.
Those 4 words, not 2 or 3. Good job, Jamie.
Oh, my God.
Question number 5.
Oh, we'll get there.
From the 314, who has a better chance at a repeat? Is it the Boston Celtics or the Florida Panthers?
Wow. I think it's the Florida Panthers.
Don't they have a lot of free agents?
Yeah, but their major guys are there. And they're already talking about re-signing Sam Reinhart, bringing him back. And they still have Bobrovsky, Kachuk, Barkov, most of their defense core they can bring back. So
I think it's Boston.
I
they
do
were
too.
the best team all season and
hear me
essentially have everybody
Hear me out.
locked in.
I understand, Carey. Hear me out.
All right, I'm listening.
The Boston Celtics also got the easiest road to the NBA Finals ever. Miami was missing Jimmy Butler. Other teams were missing some of their top players. What does it look like if those guys are healthy?
I agree. I have also heard you say hockey is the hardest sport to win a championship in.
They've already been back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Why would they make it 3, huh?
Why wouldn't they?
They only won 1.
They did.
So winning
Now that-
another one is
now
even harder.
They sip champagne out of the cup. It's like a vampire when they taste their first blood. They just can't get enough, Carey.
What the hell was that?
I don't know what it was.
Scared the hell out of me, though.
All right, next question, Marshy.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. The fact that he answered a vampire tasting their first drop of blood so easily.
Sound like a rabbit.
That was a bat flapping its wings.
Oh.
Come on!
Oh, all righty.
Question number 6.
Okay, from the 618, between the Cards and the Blues, which team would you say has the most bad contracts?
The Blues. What are you talking about? The defenseman?
You seen what Goldie and Arnado are making?
Well, that's
right
2
now?
people. Well,
Yeah,
you know what? You
it's
actually
almost $60 million, bro.
Now that I think about it,
It's more. That's almost more than the entire cast of the Blues.
you might be right. Yeah, but those guys gonna turn it around, Jamie.
If we take those guys out.
Yeah, second half.
Steven Matz, you seen his contract?
Look again. Mo is telling you, look here. Don't look over there.
When I look at the Blues, how many contracts do they have with players that don't help their team?
Okay.
You can make the argument that. But Jordan Kyrou, but that's not true because he's almost a point a game.
Yeah.
So his defensive game is not where you'd like it to be, but he's a point a game. So it'd be like in baseball if a guy's mashing home runs, but he's not great in the outfield.
You DH him.
You DH him. What are you right? Or you only play him on the power play, right? Like so. I think the Cardinals have. The problem is the baseball money's so much bigger, so it's hard to relate.
There's no cap, too.
There's no bad contracts when there's no cap.
Yeah.
The Cardinals have a cap. I don't know if you all know that or not. They have a cap of what they're going to spend.
They do wear caps. They wear the red. Sometimes they wear the blue.
Yeah.
Then they have the big STL.
Those are nice. I like
the City Connect
with the red jerseys.
The City Connect jerseys, the red on the white is awesome.
You like it.
I've always loved the red.
He didn't like it.
He didn't like it. That guy.
That guy.
Yeah. I don't like the STL. I think they could have done more with the hat, but I absolutely love the red on white. I love it.
It's beautiful.
They're undefeated wearing those, too. Just a heads
they should
up.
wear them the rest of the season.
Thanks, Marshy.
What?
He's the announcer jinx, right?
Yep.
You ruined it.
You don't even believe in it.
I don't have to believe in it.
I do believe in it.
See,
they're going to wear them tomorrow.
That's a statistic.
They're going to wear them tomorrow?
That makes it worse.
They might wear them tomorrow. I think they wear them on Fridays.
At home.
That means Saturdays, don't they?
No, it's Friday at home.
I think the first time they wore it on a Saturday, they did wear it on a Saturday. Or no, they wore it on a Sunday, didn't they? They wore it Sunday.
We'll see this weekend.
I think it's usually Fridays. I usually see City Connect jerseys being worn on Fridays, but hey,
I think you're wrong.
I probably am.
I don't have the answer. Trust me.
Back to the cap situation. I think it's the Blues though, just because they do have a cap, it sort of hinders what they can do. They've already proven that they've tried. The Army's tried to trade away one of the guys.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That and the no trade clauses.
The no trade clauses are more problematic than the dollar value, quite honestly. And I'd say there's probably one defenseman that you'd like to not have that contract right now. Pick your guy. Whoever you are out there, pick your horse of whichever guy you'd like. But I think both teams have some bad contracts. Both teams have some value contracts, too. Some of the young guys are playing really well for both clubs.
I agree. We got an extra one? Or was that 6? Or was that 5?
No, that was 5.
I can't keep. I'm like
that
you.
was 6.
That was 6?
Oh, well,
that was
I'm
6.
not like you. Okay.
Oh.
2, 3, 4.
We got a text from the 618. Props to Marsh for the Wolf of Wall Street effort in the background. I
like it.
also got to give props to Carey because you hopped in on that as well.
I knew exactly where you were on.
All right, Marshy, do we have a returning Gauntlet?
We have a new Gauntlet contestant. It will be Donnie, and not Donnie Fandango.
Okay.
Who, shout out to him.
Yeah, he's doing his 28-hour radiothon for the Ronald McDonald House. So if you have an extra couple bucks and you have some time, please donate over there at 105.7 The Point. Every dollar goes to the Ronald McDonald House, and it's really appreciated.
Do you think you guys could go a full day of radio?
So I've done the doubleheader a couple of times where I've been on the Rizzuto show and then came and did our show. So it's 8 hours of radio in a day. It was a lot.
Were you tired afterwards?
I had more of a headache than anything. Because you're talking like 8 hours.
People don't understand that talking for 4 hours is it's
tough.
Yeah.
And you also you got to be on too.
Yeah, you
gotta be
make sure
on.
you can't
Even
be
when you're
lazy. You can't be tired.
Yeah.
I found it hard a couple of times during the season. There were a couple of nights where I needed a little pick me up from doing, whether it was 2 or 3 hours of radio in the day and then going right to the rink and doing 3 hours of TV at night. Like that couple of times. And then traveling and then unpacking all the radio stuff and doing radio again the next day and then maybe another game that night. There's a couple of times I had to, make sure I had a coffee or so. And you go to bed at night, you got the pounding headache. So the best way to get rid of that is to pound the bourbon, and then you wake up with a headache again. It's just really not a great...
Well, you keep going.
Yeah.
Usually.
Rinse, repeat?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right, Gauntlet next here on 101 ESPN. Tonight is the night. Join me over at Cyberg's on Dorset Road to present Stella Artois' Hot Ones. That's right. Stella Artois is partnering with Hot Ones to bring hot wings and hot trivia questions to St. Louis. Sign up now to compete in 3 rounds of trivia where the questions get more difficult as the wings get hotter. You can also visit Cyberg's before this and Hot Shots locations and sign up to participate and compete in the competition for an awesome St. Louis Staycation Grand Prize. Or just come hang out, watch the festivities, enjoy some free Stella sampling, and your chance at attendance prizes. Again, that's tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. over at Cyberg's on Dorset Road. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be trivia where you compete. Teams get eliminated each round. The hot ones get hotter and hotter, but it's okay. You've got nice cold beverages there, and it's going to be a great group of people that are putting on this event for Anheuser-Busch. So please stop by, see me tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. at Cyberg's on Dorset Road.
Four warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
The Gauntlet is powered by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit mastor.com.
4:01, your time check, brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. It is time for the Gauntlet. We head out to the ESPN hotline. We got Donnie on here. Donnie, how you doing, bud?
Good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. It's a beautiful Thursday. Looking forward to a nice weekend. You've got your pick of the litter here. Who would you like to play against today?
Well, the last time I was on 2 years ago, I went up against you and you kicked my butt. So today I'm going to go Carey.
Oh, I thought maybe you're coming a little revenge. You're gonna save me for later, huh?
Yeah. All right, Donnie. Good luck.
All right, Carey's gonna.
Thanks, Carey.
Unplug and get the heck out of here. Head to the cone of silence. All right, Donnie, it's time to tell Marshy to spin that wheel.
Marshy, spin that wheel.
What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping for hockey.
Oh, hockey against Carey? Oh. Oh, boy. Well, Donnie, you got hockey against Carey. You got it, man. All right, so you know how this works. Before questions, they're all worth 2 points each. If you use the options and answer correctly, they're worth 1 point. Of course, the wrong answer is 0 points. If you're tied after 4 questions, we have a tiebreaker question, and we will get a winner here today in the Gauntlet. Donnie, my man, ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right, hockey, the category, question 1. Despite losing in the Stanley Cup Final in 1968, name the Blue that took home the Conn Smythe Trophy as MVP of that year's playoffs.
Oh, dang it.
Well,
I know I should know this. I'm going to need the options, though.
Okay. Was it Mike Liut, Bernie Federko, or Glenn Hall?
Let's go Glenn Hall.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Okay.
Question number 2. Who was last year's Conn Smythe winner?
Gosh, dang it. I was looking at this earlier today. You know what? Options again.
Your options are Jonathan Marchessault, Mark Stone, or Alex Pietrangelo.
Marchessault, A. Final answer.
All right, Donnie, question 3. Who was the last player to win back-to-back Conn Smythe trophies?
Options, please.
All right, was it Nikita Kucherov, Andrei Vasilevsky, or Sidney Crosby?
Vasilevsky. Final answer.
Okay.
Question number 4. Name the player who has won the most Conn Smythe trophies in NHL history. The only player to win it 3 times. He did so with 2 different teams.
2 different teams. No, I'm going to hope Carey doesn't know either. Options, please.
Options are Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, or Patrick Waugh.
The Gretzky. Final answer.
All right, Donnie, we're going to get our guy Carey back in here while he's coming in. How you feel, bud?
Not as confident as I did before this started.
All right, Carey's back in here. He's going to be plugging in his ears any second now. Carey, how's it going to silence, buddy?
Oh, it's very silent.
It's very silent. Nobody around today.
Oh, Tommy Madden stopped by. Said
did he?
Yeah.
Poked his head in?
Yeah, said hello.
Offered a little encouragement?
Yeah, trying to get my spirits up. Keep my spirits up. Keep me going, yeah.
All right, well, let me ask you this. How do you feel about hockey?
I love hockey.
Yeah, good, because that's what you got today.
All right.
You better pack a lunch.
Okay.
All right, question 1, Carey. Despite losing in the Stanley Cup Final in 1968, name the Blue that took home the Conn Smythe Trophy as MVP of that year's playoffs.
Give me the options, please.
Was it Mike Liut, Bernie Federko, or Glenn Hall?
Glenn Hall. Final answer.
Question number 2. Who was last year's Conn Smythe winner?
Okay, help me. Options.
Your options are Jonathan Marchessault, Mark Stone, or Alex Pietrangelo.
I was going to say Stone. Mark Stone. Final answer.
Question 3.
Okay.
Who was the last player to win back-to-back Conn Smythe trophies?
Oh, man. That would be a team that won back-to-back, probably. Played in back-to-back. Ooh. Is that Blackhawk? Can't tell me. No.
I can't tell you, buddy.
All right. Options.
Was it Nikita Kucherov, Andrei Vasilevsky, or Sidney Crosby?
Second one again? Who was it?
Andrei Vasilevsky.
Let me go Kucherov. Final answer. Ooh, this is tough.
Question number 4. Name the player who has won the most Conn Smythe trophies in NHL history, the only player to win it 3 times.
Nah.
He did so with 2 different teams.
Mark Messier, final answer. Probably should took the options on that one.
All right, here we go. Let's start right there at the end. Name the player who has won the Conn Smythe Trophy, has won Conn Smythe Trophy, the most Conn Smythe trophies in NHL history. The only player to win it 3 times. He did so with 2 different teams. Donnie, you said Wayne Gretzky. Carey, you said Mark Messier. Wayne Gretzky won 4 Stanley Cups. Mark Messier won 6 Stanley Cups. 2 great answers.
Mm-hmm.
Answer is?
Well, it's the guy that played for the Montreal Canadiens and the Colorado Avalanche, Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Waugh. All right.
Options?
The options were Lemieux, Gretzky, Waugh. Yeah. All right, we're scoreless. After one, let's go to the next question. Question 3. Who is the last player to win back-to-back Conn Smythe trophies? Donnie, you said Andrei Vasilevsky. Carey, you said Nikita Kucherov. Answer is?
It is Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby. 2016, 2017, Pittsburgh Penguins. So we're 0-0 after 2. Let's go with question 1. Despite losing in the Stanley Cup final in 1968, name the Blue that took home the Conn Smythe Trophy as MVP of that year's playoffs. Donnie, you said Glenn Hall. Carey, you also said Glenn Hall. Answer is?
It is Glenn Hall.
But you both needed the options. 1-1. After 3. Comes down to this. Who was last year's Conn Smythe Trophy winner? Donnie, you took the options, and you said Jonathan Marchessault. Carey, you also took the options. You said Mark Stone. One of you is right. Donnie.
You have chosen wisely.
It was Jonathan Marchessault. Donnie wins. Defensive battle, 2-1 here today.
Good job, Donnie.
Wow. Hey, congratulations. Good job, Carey.
Thank you.
All right, all right, Donnie. You'll be back tomorrow to face either Andrew Marsh or Anthony Stalter. Unfortunately, I won't be here today. But if you get through one of those guys, I'll be back on Monday. And maybe we'll be Clash of the Titans.
I got some studying to do tonight then.
All right, buddy. Good job today.
Good job,
Thanks
Donnie.
for listening. Thanks for playing.
Good job, Donnie.
Thank you, guys. Love the show.
Thank you very much.
So you asked me, do I like hockey? I meant to say blues hockey.
You don't know your Conn Smythe?
The first one I would have got for sure. Marchessault I would have got with the options because my brain doesn't work that way. Crosby would have been a coin flip. I probably would have got the Patrick Waugh. So, but it was tough. That's a tough go for both of you guys. Good job, Carey. You're doing well, man.
I'm trying.
Oh, you're good. You're fine. I don't care what Marshy says.
Thank you.
You're fine.
Oh, come on.
He's talking bad when I'm in there, huh?
A little bit. What? He alludes to things.
Okay.
All right, coming up next here in the Fast Lane, we got Hot Take or Hot Garbage, but stay tuned as well. 4:30, we got the Blues head coach Drew Bannister, and he's going to be talking to us about the new additions and the promotions within his coaching staff. But again, up next, Hot Take or Hot Garbage, 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, right now joined by our guy Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. And Stewie, buying a house can be scary sometimes. How do you buy a house with no regrets?
You know what, Vin, let's talk about something for a second, okay? People don't buy houses. What's the number one reason why they can't buy a house? What do you think?
Money.
Money. They don't have the money for down payment. So we invented the bagel loan. You have no closing costs. Therefore, you don't have to pay that. But then they came back and said, you know what? I'm paying rent, but I need down payment. Well, we rolled out 100% financing, no down payment when you're buying a house for the first time. Buying a house for the first time or if you have a certain amount of income below, you're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars, we're going to give you 100% financing, conventional loan, not FHA, and no closing costs. So why are you going to sit there and pay that rent when you have an opportunity to buy a home right now with no money? It's the greatest opportunity. Grab it and stop paying somebody else's payments and rent.
I totally agree. And if you're out there right now and you've been contemplating purchasing a home, but you have questions or you're hesitant, call my guy, Stewie. His personal cell phone number is 314-324-4440. Again, 314-324-4440. If you can't remember that, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is Google the bagel loan. Stewie, thanks for everything you do, brother.
Have a good night, guys.
NMLS number 226715.
Boom! Hot take! It's the Fast Lane here, 101 ESPN. Text in 314-399-9646. It is time for Hot Take or Hot Garbage. What do we got, Marshy?
From the 314 Hot Take or Hot Garbage, Nolan Arenado or Paul Goldschmidt will be gone by trade deadline.
I say that's hot garbage. Here's why. The Cardinals are going to stay in contention here in this little playoff buzz area at the wild card 2, wild card 3 spot. And your team, whether you believe it or not, the way they're playing right now, your team potentially could get better if these guys start swinging the bat properly. And you know what? Goldie's numbers, quite honestly, in the last month, I went back, checked it out. I forgot to write them down. But I was a little shocked because I was listening to BK and Ferrario talk about Goldie. And then the last month, Goldie's numbers are pretty good. Like, he's not getting the home runs, okay? But he's getting on base, he's hitting for average. Like, his OPS is got up. So Goldie's contributing a lot more. Nolan Arenado still concerns me, especially watching some of his at-bats last night where he's swinging at pitches that are way outside the zone and he's reaching at pitches that are almost in the dirt. So to me, his pitch selection or identifying hittable pitches, he's having trouble right now. But you're not trading them. Both have no trade clauses, first of all. And if you're in the mix, you're going to need these guys, even if it's from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, I think they're both here. Unless it just goes and falls completely off the rails the next, I guess, month or so before the trade deadline, and you just say, okay, we don't have any opportunity or any chance to make a playoff push from the wild card standpoint. I think they're here because I think you're going to do just enough. You're going to be the NL side of things is so bad where I think the Cardinals are going to is going to allow themselves, their play in the NL is going to allow them to stay in that wild card. So I think those guys will be here come trade deadline.
Hot take or hot garbage from the 314. Alec Burleson has been a surprise this year.
Hot take.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, he's been outstanding. And I think, the thing they talk about his minor league career, how he was good. He did essentially what he's doing now. Last year, when you're not playing every single day or not getting those opportunities, or it's a pinch hit role here, maybe you start for a couple of days and then you're off for 3 or 4, it's hard to get in the groove. You're seeing the best version of him because he's playing every day. And he's giving you the, he's making it worth it because he's performing really well. So it's hot. Was it hot garbage?
No, hot take.
Hot take. Yeah, I forgot. Hot take.
Yeah, I agree. Hot take. And Nolan Arenado was asked about Alec Burleson, and he flat out said, and I quote, "The more he plays, the better he gets." And so if that's the case, then you got to keep playing Alec Burleson. And it is a surprise because on the way out of town last year, there were question marks surrounding Burleson, and Oli Marmol basically said, "You got to get on board or you're out of here," type thing. And we've talked about Burley losing, 15 pounds. Mm-hmm. It's not that he lost the weight. He said he put the work in.
Right.
The results can vary, but when you put the work in, the team notices that stuff. And then right from spring training on, he's just been steady. And now he's one of your most productive guys at the plate. And he's played pretty damn solid defensively, too. He's given us more defensively than I thought he could do.
I agree.
Hot take for sure.
From the 314, hot take or hot garbage, Matthew Liberatore earned another shot as a 5th starter.
Oh, Carey, I know where you're going with this.
Hot take.
Yeah. That's all you got.
Yeah, that's all I got. I mean, what more do you want? 6 innings, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. What more do you want from a starter?
Yeah.
You've been looking for a 5th starter for a while. I mean, since Steven Matz has gone down, since I guess a month or so into the season. Hot take. He's your guy. Give him another opportunity. Roll him on out there. Do not put him in a bullpen role over the next couple of days because you need a guy.
Yeah.
No. You need a starter, don't you, Jamie?
You do.
Well, what are you looking like that? Why are you making that face? What's wrong? Unwind. Untangle yourself.
But how?
No.
Andre Palante has been more consistent than Matthew Liberatore.
Well, who has the higher upside?
I understand that, Carey.
Who did you sign to? If you can get that you know. Hold on, you know this.
That player's ceiling is this.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, you never got off the first floor.
But if you see, people start. See what we can get. I knew it was there. So that's the excitement. Like I know he has the capability of doing this.
Do you know that?
You just saw it yesterday, didn't you? Did you have your eyes closed?
But you yourself said I need consistency. It can't just be one.
How's he going to be consistent if he doesn't get another chance?
You yourself said major league players, pros, guys who play in the big, it's consistent. It's day after day after day.
And I consistently have to give them an opportunity to show.
But you gave them opportunities already this year.
I'm going to give them another one. And probably another one after that.
You're talking out of both sides of your mouth. I'm on to you.
I'm going to give them a chance. Show me that this is who you are, because I want to believe it. They want to believe that.
Of course they do.
So they're going to give him another chance.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with giving him another chance. Yeah. I don't think he's like, it's an automatic, though.
Well, if he has another performance like that, then
if he does.
You write
and what if he doesn't, then, Carey?
Then you got to give him one more time and see how it looks.
Enough. Next.
From the 661, hot take or hot garbage, leagues need to stop overpricing their games and make it easier for fans from anywhere to watch whatever game they want from any device, from any location, period. The NFL losing their antitrust case today proves the people will not rest until they are entertained.
Yeah, this is such a tough one. I don't even know what to say because the games used to always be, like growing up, games were just on cable. You paid your cable bill and you got the baseball game on cable. And then satellite dish came in. It confused things a little bit, but then it still ended up back part of your package that you had for your satellite dish or as you move forward into internet TV and things like that. But then somewhere in the last, 4 or 5 years, it's been removed from the basic package, the basic plan. So now they've asked you to pay all this money for whatever package you're getting, and then you have to pay more for certain channels that carry the games. Or you have to pay for the app and stream it. And it's like, I don't know where it ends. I don't. Like, even if they go to a pay-per-view watching games, like, I don't like that.
Well,
we talked the other day, we were very honest, and we said, the reason we haven't been able to truly dive into City SC is because we can't casually turn the TV on. Well, there's Apple TV. I understand that. And I have Apple TV.
Yeah.
But do I want to pay the freight?
There you go.
To watch something that I may not like or that I'm just watching in passing? Like, it's much different for me to be walking around the house, flip on the TV, scroll to whatever, and put it on, like, boom, right there. Like, part of the cable package, part of my...
Much easier that way.
Much easier.
Yeah.
And then if I like it, and watching it more and long, I'm like, okay, now I'm in. So the same has to be said about baseball and hockey. This is the biggest thing. The Cardinals, in my opinion, like, your fan base has to see your product.
Correct.
And if you're eliminating a certain amount of fan base because they can't afford the bump up in the package, or they don't have the technology, or like they don't have the money for a streaming system, then you're losing eyeballs.
I think the NFL has gotten, they're to the point where they're so cocky, like you're going to watch regardless. Like how they can put a game
on Peacock,
just
out of nowhere,
a playoff game. Like, pay for this. Like, wait, what? Like, I want to watch the game, but you're going to pay for it because they feel like their product is that important that people want to see it. So
they're not wrong.
There you go. Baseball, hockey, even basketball, I think that's a little bit harder to do. More people, football has essentially taken over the entire calendar year with every moment, every season, they're a part of what's going on. Yeah. So they've done a good job with it, but it's not fair to fans that, like you said, may not be able to afford it or just don't have the capability to watch certain things and they want to watch it.
All right, last one here. Interesting one from the 636. Hot take or hot garbage? Shoes need to be worn in the weight room of a public gym. None of this working out in your socks.
So I've noticed a big change in the gym over the years, and more people are doing more things without shoes on. So here's what I'll say. According to a number of people and my own research, when you're doing deadlifts, it's recommended that you do deadlift barefoot.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. You want to roll over the squat rack or the deadlift area, and you want to take off your shoes quietly and just put them over there and do your deadlifts, fine with that. Where I reach a little bit of a barrier, and even as a gym, liability, the business brain in me goes, Buddy's walking around barefoot. Like, what if he kicks a weight or stumbles on something, like, or somebody else drops it on his foot? Like, all of a sudden now we got a smashed foot. Not that a shoe can do a lot more, but I feel like the shoe is still somewhat protective.
I agree with you. I don't have a problem. Like there's something about your bare feet, but if you got socks on, that's a dangerous thing because you might slip. That's not very smart. But barefoot on the ground, lifting, there is a connection from the ground up where you can, you feel better. So I don't have a problem with that. Just put your feet away once
Carey,
you get done with your.
Are you bringing the dogs out? No socks.
I'm not.
And you're doing like incline dumbbell press.
No,
you're sitting there barefoot.
Or the. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not doing any of that. Leg press. I'm not putting my bare feet on the leg press machine. Like,
right?
It's a little weird,
come
bro.
On.
It's a little strange.
The only one it really applies to is the deadlift exercise.
Deadlift,
for me.
Yeah.
I mean, squats, I'd like to have a shoe on.
Yeah. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I don't. But I do understand the liability aspect of it. And, if everybody's walking around barefoot, it's a little strange.
My favorite thing, not really, my biggest pet peeve is when I'm watching people walk around barefoot, and every time they take a step and I can see them walking, the bottom of their feet are black, like just dirty, filthy feet. And I'm like, what are you doing right now? What are you doing?
Not living.
Yeah. All right, that was Hot Take, Hot Garbage. What we're going to get into next is the Cardinals offense better than what it appears to be. We're going to get that after we talk to head coach Drew Bannister from the Blues. Coming up next.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues announced today that Steve Ott has been promoted to associate head coach, and Claude Julien will join the Blues staff as an assistant coach. We are going to talk with Blues head coach Drew Bannister coming up next, so stay tuned for that right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's a Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Super Bowl champion Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers here. We head out to the celebrity line, be joined by none other than Blues head coach Drew Bannister. Drew, how we doing, bud?
I'm good, Jamie. How are you?
I'm good. How's the summer going?
The summer's been busy, obviously, but I just got into Vegas here, so I had a very early flight. I was up at 3:30 this morning. My daughter actually graduated from grade 8 last night in Thunder Bay. Drove to Duluth, jumped on a plane there early this morning, flew into Minnesota, and then into Vegas. I got here just after 11 and rushed to the hotel and checked in and got up to my room. And I've kind of been doing a stream of interviews here, and now I'm just sitting down in the lobby here of the Cosmopolitan and about to talk to you guys. So sorry for the background noise if there's any.
No. First of all, congratulations to your daughter. Second of all, Chandelier Bar is one of my favorite spots in Vegas, so I don't mind the back noise. Okay, Coach?
Okay. I'll have to check that out. Whereabouts is that?
It's in the Cosmo. Yeah, right there in the Cosmo. Yeah, just tell them Jamie sent you. They might remember me.
All right.
All right, Coach. A lot going on here, obviously with the draft coming up in Vegas, but some staff additions here. Steve Ott gets promoted to associate coach. Walk me through that process a little bit, and tell me some things that you love about Otter and what he brings to the table.
Yeah, so when Doug offered me the job, we immediately talked about our staff, and and I think I want to speak broadly about our staff because when I came in, certainly difficult circumstances. With Chief leaving, very well respected. Chief had hired all those guys in the room. And they accepted me. Welcomed me in. They dug in and they worked. Very loyal. And in turn, when I accepted the job to come back, that was number one priority to me, to make sure that I was loyal to those guys. That I continued to have the continuity with the staff. The relationships that Steve and Davey and Webby have with our players was extremely important to me. But also, talking about Otter, he's been a Blue since day one as a coach. He's seen the ups and downs. He's won a Stanley Cup. I just felt like he deserved it, and Doug agreed. Doug went through that process with those guys. I was excited to have them all back on board, and also excited to be able to have that opportunity to give that, give the bump up in becoming an associate, from an assistant to associate coach to Otter, because it was well deserved, and I was happy that we could do that.
Coach, you also signed Claude Julien as an assistant coach. He has a wealth of knowledge and experience as a head coach in National Hockey League and been around for years. What does he bring to you all staff?
Yeah, so when I went through the interview process myself, the question was brought up to me is if I would make any changes on my staff. And at that time, I had a vision of what I felt, our staff as a whole needed. And so when the vision was, when I look at our staff, I would, we're a younger staff, I would say, in terms of coaching experience. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me was head coaching experience. because really for me, I have 50 games in the NHL, 53 games in the NHL as a head coach, 5 in the American League, and 3 as a head coach in the Ontario Hockey League. And I felt that was something that we were missing on our bench. So when I went through this process and I started to put a vision together of what I felt we needed, and started to process, some deficiencies in our game, and then start putting a list together of coaches out there. And the things that I was looking for was a background in development. So I was looking for somebody, that had been a coach in major, junior, or college, had been a coach in the American League, and most importantly for me was a head coach in the NHL. So I wasn't looking for just an assistant coach. If I wanted to hire an assistant coach, this process would have been done a long time ago. So it was it was a long process. I had a lot of conversations, good conversations with people. But the more I had conversations with Claude, the more and more I got excited about Claude. And I think he started to see my vision for him coming in, and not only helping our staff, helping our players, but helping me too, and the experience that he has and where I can lean on. And when I think about it, it immediately makes our team better, makes our staff better, and it makes our players better with his presence and his experience there.
Banny, I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw the announcement, I thought to myself, I put myself in your shoes for a second, and not knowing, obviously, the process that had happened, and I was like, man, I would be a little stressed out at times having a guy that's so decorated standing there on the bench. I think it's human nature to sit there and go, I wonder if I'm making the right choice here. But obviously, with the confidence that you have in what you guys are doing and your vision for Claude Julien, that wasn't even a thought for you, apparently.
No, it wasn't. And from day one, and this is what made this process so difficult for me, is that I was explicitly looking for someone that was a head coach in the NHL. And like at the end of the day, this isn't about me. This is about the team and making the team better and making our staff better, but also in my own development. Like I'm in this game to continue to grow and get better. And and that's what excites me so much about Claude. If I was insecure about myself as a coach and that I wasn't able to do the job, I would have probably just hired an assistant coach. But I'm hiring somebody that I truly believe in, and I truly believe is going to make us a better team. And that's my job as a head coach, to make the team better, not only make the players better, but to make my staff better. And Claude brings a presence. Not only has he been a head coach for in the NHL for a long time, but he's won a Stanley Cup. He knows how to win. He's coached Olympic hockey teams. He's coached, some of the best players that we've seen in our lifetime in Boston and at the Olympics teams. So those are things that really excite me about Claude. And I think when he started to view, my thought process and my vision with the team and his role coming in, he started to get really excited about it. And it wasn't really until a couple days ago that, talking to Doug, that we really narrowed down the group. But I always kept going back to Claude, because if you look at Claude's teams in the past, whether it was Boston or Montreal, their strengths were how they defend, and what he brought to their team and how they played. And when I looked at our deficiencies as a team at the end of the year, those were the deficiencies, whether it was our rush coverage or our D-zone coverage, where we have to be harder to play against. And Claude automatically brings that to our team.
Now, when you talk about Claude Julien and you're talking about the process, Banny, how much of a sell was it for you? Because this is a guy that's been a head coach for a long time, and I know that he'd expressed through the media that he was looking for another head coach opportunity. Yep. So for you, let's say you pick up the phone, you call Claude. How do you get a guy like that to buy into coming in and being an assistant coach?
Yeah, and that was part of the process and what made it difficult and what's taken so long to get to this point. Because I've had some really good conversations with coaches that were just out of the game, that were head coaches and went we're part of this process right down to the end close. So I'm not a car salesman, but I had to put on my car salesman suit at times but I also think that I was very prepared. Like I've had a vision of what I needed from basically from when I did my interview process for the head coaching job, which was before the season ended. I hadn't thoroughly thought it through, but I knew what we needed, and then I started to, once I was offered the job, I was able to kind of lay out that plan more to Doug so he could see my vision and what I was looking for when I was bringing in this coach to add to our staff. And then it was up to me to start to look at who may be available, who might be interested, and start making those connections and start going through the process of, one, getting to know them first. I didn't talk hockey with a lot of them early on. I talked about family, and their family, my family, and a lot of that stuff before we got to the hockey stuff, before we got to talking about my vision for them if they were to get the job. And as we went down, I kept coming back to Claude and what he could bring to our staff and to our players and to myself individually. And I just think it's a great fit. I'm extremely excited about it, and I know the rest of our staff is.
Coach, I know you mentioned you all are in Vegas for the draft, and I know it's a tough time. It's a hard job. You got a tough job to do, but there has to be a part of you that's excited about all these first-time moments, first time with hiring staff members, first time with being a part of the draft, and as the Blues head coach. Can you talk to us about just how that feels, how excited you are about this moment?
Yeah, no, I think it's exciting to be a part of being down on the floor and not watching it as a player or as a head coach in the American League or even a junior coach when I used to come to the draft to watch our players get drafted. So it's an exciting time, and then it's an exciting time for me to go back to St. Louis here in the next couple of days. I'm going to meet with my staff for 3 or 4 days here and start kind of finalizing a lot of our stuff that we'll be going into the year with. Get to meet Claude. Claude will be involved in that. And then I get to see our players, the players that we drafted last year that we think highly of, see where they are at, and then see these young kids that we're drafting now and get first eyes on them for the first time.
Coach, we really appreciate your time. Congratulations on the promotion to Otter, bringing on Claude Julien. Enjoy the draft and enjoy maybe a couple of cold ones in Vegas. Kick back, relax a little bit. You deserve it.
Yeah. Sorry for being long-winded, guys. It'll never happen again.
No, it's good, buddy. We appreciate your time, big time. Go enjoy your time in Vegas and have a great time, Drew.
All right. Thanks, Rose. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was Blues head coach Drew Bannister. A lot of great things there. A lot of great things. Stuff that we talked about. Save it.
Okay. Because it was
I want to get into that.
It was awesome, yeah. Definitely.
Next, here on 101 ESPN.
from day one, and this is what's made this process so difficult for me, is that I was explicitly looking for someone that was a head coach in the NHL. And, at the end of the day, this isn't about me. This is about the team and making the team better and making our staff better, but also in my own development. I'm in this game to continue to grow and get better. And that's what excites me so much about Claude. If I was insecure about myself as a coach and that I wasn't able to do the job, I would have probably just hired an assistant coach, but I'm hiring somebody that I truly believe in and I truly believe is going to make us a better team.
That right there, Blues head coach Drew Bannister talking about the addition of Claude Julien to his staff here, announced earlier today by the Blues. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers here. Guys, I have to tell you, I was extremely impressed with Drew Bannister's thought process and then the answers he gave us. And in particular, when you listen to that soundbite, so if I was an insecure coach, if I wasn't confident in my abilities, then I would have just hired a yes man.
Yep.
But I didn't. I hired a guy who's a head coach in the NHL for 2 decades, who has a Stanley Cup ring, so that he can make this team better and make him better as a head coach.
Correct.
Carey, you don't get that kind of honesty very often from coaches.
No, you usually get the coach speak. I thought listening to him is refreshing. It is fun to hear a coach be so open, so honest, and saying, we talked about it earlier, if you made that hire, if he made that decision himself, there's a level of confidence and security within himself and his coaching ability to bring a guy in that has, all the accolades, all the knowledge, the experience, and been doing it for as long as he has, to be on your staff and sitting next to you. And like you said, could be overlooking and questioning some of the decisions, but you have him there to help you, to assist you and your team to be the best version of themselves. I thought that was awesome. He said, it's not about me, it's about the team. It's about the team being the best that we can be. And so I everything he said, I think it was spot on. He talked about, I looked at our deficiencies and our deficiencies defensively. We needed to pick some things up.
Yeah.
And Claude Julien's, his teams were really good in that area. So this is why I wanted him to be on our staff to help in that part. So I just thought it was outstanding. It's fun to hear, not hear coach speak, not hear just the mundane, we got to get better. No, this is what I'm thinking. This is what we need. And this is why I made this decision. I thought it was refreshing.
I think there was a good amount of Blues fans that maybe were upset or didn't like the hire full-time of Drew Bannister. A lot of people wanted a bigger name, more experience. Listening to Drew Bannister just during that segment right there alone, there's so many things that came to me where I was like, okay, he's the right guy. The very first thing we talked about, I asked him about Steve Ott, his promotion within the group. Drew Bannister goes on to tell us that those guys were extremely loyal to him in a tough time. Their buddy, Craig Berube, the guy who gave them a job, just got fired. And now you got a new guy who's never coached in the NHL. He's now your boss.
Right.
And it talks about their loyalty to him in that moment. And for the season last year, he felt that he needed to be loyal back to them and make sure that they were still unified within the group. And also felt so strongly about Steve Ott, went to the president and said he deserves a bump.
Right.
So talk to Steve Ott. So think about that. You got a guy now who's looking out for his guys. Actually, looking out for somebody else's guys. Now they're his guys.
His guys now. Yep.
And then is confident in his abilities to run the team and his vision for the team that he went out and was seeking another head coach.
Right.
A guy with head coaching experience to be his assistant coach, to push him, to push the team, and ultimately make the team better.
Yeah.
Carey, and let's go back to last year. The team played better under Drew Bannister. So all of these things combined now, listening to Drew Bannister, seeing what he was able to do, him holding guys accountable, the power play getting better. I have no doubt in my mind that he's the right guy for the team right now.
You saw glimpses of it last year. Like you said, sitting players down that weren't performing to the level that he thought that they needed to perform at for the team. And saying, and that's for a guy that is on an interim, basis, not full term, hadn't signed a new contract yet, was not solidified in his role, saying this is what needs to be done now for this team. I'm focused on the now. I'm focused on what we're doing, and then carry over, get signed in offseason, and now you're seeing the decisions that he's making. Just completely confident in his ability to coach hockey, to move this team in the way that they need to be moved, and getting people in here that will assist with that is always going to be, I think you're going to see a really good version of the St. Louis Blues this upcoming season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And, when you dive into just Drew Bannister and the team and these selections, and it comes to me on very solid authority that this was Drew Bannister's choice the entire time. The entire process of picking his assistant coach and going through this was all Drew Bannister until he got to the goal line. And then obviously he handed off then for the financial side for the president and the GM to be Alex Steen, who came in and apparently got the deal finalized with Claude Julien. But this was all Drew Bannister. And I like it. He's had a leader mentality since he's gotten here, and he continues to have that leader mentality.
A few texts from the Air Comfort Service text line from the 314. I love Chief, but man, he, talking about Drew Bannister, is really getting me on board quickly. Another one from the 314. Great interview. This new coaching hire sounds like the right guy.
Yeah. And look, here's what I'm going to tell the Blues fans, because Craig Berube is a really good friend of mine, and he obviously is beloved as a head coach for the St. Louis Blues. Brought this city their first Stanley Cup. Just because you love Craig Berube doesn't mean you can't love Drew Bannister too.
Right.
You're not picking sides.
Drew Bannister didn't fire Craig Berube.
Drew Bannister had nothing to do with the firing of Craig Berube. And in fact, Craig Berube and Drew Bannister had a very good working relationship from the minors to the NHL team. So if you're still attached to Craig Berube, hey, I don't blame you. Yeah. You can cheer for the Toronto Maple Leafs next year. They're in the Eastern Conference. Enjoy that. Have them win some games. But you don't have to dislike this head coach who, in my opinion, has done nothing but continue to take steps forward in the right direction with everything he does and everything he's saying so far.
I agree.
So
that was fun to hear.
It's a lot of fun. If you missed that interview, by the way, with Drew Bannister, it'll be posted following the show. Just go to the 101 mobile app or go to 101ESPN.com. Hit the podcast page, download the podcast. All of that brought to you by our friends over at Dobbs Tire and Auto. All right, guys, we're moving along here. 5 o'clock hour. We're going to dive. I teased this before. I'm so passionate about this. Is the Cardinals' offense better than what it appears to be? We'll talk about it next here in the Fast Lane. Fast Lane here, 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, our guy Anthony will be back tomorrow. Carey, the Cardinals' offense this year. What if I told you that at times they've just been unlucky?
The Cardinals' offense has been unlucky?
What if I told you that Cardinals' offense at times has just been unlucky?
I would say that. How many times are you saying they've been unlucky? Because if it's too many times, I would say that's probably who they are, as opposed to just bad luck.
Well,
you make your own luck, Jamie. There's no such thing as bad luck or good luck. It's being prepared for said moment, and then you know what? When you're prepared, usually they say you got lucky, but it's actually preparation.
I'm going to read something to you that you're going to love.
Let me hear it.
Okay? It says, the Cardinals have been one of the unluckiest teams offensively this season. If you compare the expected stats to the actual stats for St. Louis this year, they sit firmly in the unlucky tier when it comes to offensive production. How do you feel about that?
That makes my ears hurt. Like my eyeballs hurt when I read stuff like that. They're just unlucky. They were expected to do X, Y, and Z, but the pitchers on the other side didn't expect them to do it. So I guess they won out. What? No. I think what you see from this team is a team that has been very good at the top of the lineup. When I'm talking about your 1 and 2 hitters, Wilson Contreras being out for an extended period of time it hurt their offense a lot because he was hitting really well. He was I think he was the leader in OPS before he got injured. But then you still got your big boppers that have not bopped. They haven't hit the ball over the fence to the level that we are expecting them to. So offense is it's okay because and here's the thing. Here's the positive side about that. The fact that it's okay and that you're still playing as well as you are, and your 2 best players or your 2 highest paid players. I don't know. Can we call them their best players now?
Highest paid.
Okay, their 2 highest paid players still have not given you what you need. Now, Goldie had a good hit yesterday, drove in a run. Those things are happening.
Goldie's hitting the ball better.
He's hitting, but we're talking about power. Jamie.
I agree.
We're talking see, you can't have it both ways because Jordan Walker was hitting the ball well, just wasn't hitting it hard and out of the yard, right?
Well, he wasn't hitting it at all.
He was hitting it hard. Well, not this year, last year.
Sorry, Carey.
Sorry, my apologies. But yeah, you're expecting those guys to drive in runs, hit the ball out of the yard, do those things, clear bases when they're up, and they're not giving you that to the level that you're accustomed to it just yet. Not meaning that it won't happen, which gives me the hope that this offense.
Well, that's a nasty word.
Yeah, no. It's potential, Jamie.
Oh, the P word.
The potential of this offense, it could be outstanding. Just ain't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's getting there though, right? So let's at the time of this article that I pulled up, said the first 39 games this season through May 11th, Cardinals team OPS overall. And these are actually good stats. These are not expected. They're not like, okay. Their OPS was 633. They're 28th in baseball at that time. Their WRC plus, which is a really good stat. It's park adjusted, all that stuff. Anthony loves the WRC plus. They had a WRC plus of 83.
Okay.
25th in baseball. Not good. Runs scored, 132, 29th in baseball. And then this one, and it was evident in the first 39 games, slug percentage, 338, 29th in baseball.
It's not great.
But let's go to the last 38 games since May 12th, which was
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Ah, that day.
All right. Since then, OPS of 740, 11th in baseball. WRC plus 112.
Not bad.
10th in baseball. Runs scored 179 for 12th. And then slug of 422, 9th. So 20 spots in the slug category. This is why your Cardinals team is winning baseball games right now. They're getting good pitching out of the rotation, solid pitching, and they're slugging more, and they're hitting the ball more.
So it's a tale of 2 halves.
Yeah, it is.
The tale of the first half, 2 halves of the first half.
So where we are right now, yeah.
So with those numbers, you're still, because the first half was so bad, you're still middle of the pack. And when I say middle, I know they are firmly entrenched in the second wild card right now. It's outstanding. We're going to have a parade for it later on, right around the All-Star break. We should, crack out some beers and be excited.
We should.
No, we shouldn't, because it's not the full season.
Beers are never a bad idea.
Now that we agree on. All right. So I think that they are right where they need to be. They are trending in the right direction. They have done an outstanding job. But again, we need to know which version of the Cardinals they're going to be. The second half is coming up here shortly. We'll be started after the All-Star break. We'll have a better idea of if this is the first half of the season or if it's going to be the second half of the season.
Okay, so let me ask you this. But
I am excited.
It's much better.
It's
right?
much better.
So roughly when we did this little exercise, it was roughly the first 40 games versus the second 40 games. That's 80. That's half a season.
Correct.
Okay? So what if, let's just think for a second, what if the first 40 games is the only 40 games that are bad like that?
Then they have...
What if the next 40 games or the next 80 games look like what you've had for the last 40?
Then you probably win the division.
There you go.
You probably do.
And that's not including Goldie and Arenado swinging the bat.
I don't know if that's going to happen then.
But these numbers, Carey, you take across the boards. You take those numbers.
We talked about it. Is it sustainable? Like you're playing extremely well.
It's been sustainable for 40 games.
Is this sustainable for another 80?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know.
Probably.
But you're going to get Newbar back. Tommy Edman will be back. Those are solid additions. They're upgrades over some of the bats you have currently.
I don't disagree with that. Are they going to stay healthy?
That I don't know.
Well, then they haven't shown it yet.
I don't know.
Lars hasn't. He's been on the IL twice.
To look into the future.
You can kind of tell when a guy gets injured often.
You just don't know. What if they did a really good job of healing him this time?
The expected stats say if you're...
Carey. Expected stats.
Oh, you don't like it now.
You and your stats. I'm so tired of you and all your analytics.
I apologize. I've got to be better.
No, we'll see. Again, to me, the biggest question mark surrounding the Cardinals are
your two best players.
Goldie.
Your two highest paid
Goldie
players.
and Arenado.
Yes.
Because they can swing the pendulum in a really big way, one way or the other, with the way their offense goes. Right now, it's not really affecting the team because other guys are probably outperforming what they should be doing. That will regulate itself at some point,
yes.
Which is why you need Goldie and Arenado to raise their level.
I agree.
And if they do that, I think this Cardinals team, not only do they have a shot at making the playoffs, but they make the playoffs, they have a shot at winning the division.
That's what I would prefer.
And if they win the division, people here can't be pissed off.
No.
You can't be pissed off if your team wins the division. It's a crappy division. The whole National League is crappy except for like 4 teams. So win the damn division and worry about the rest another day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I agree.
All right, fine.
Yeah,
whatever.
I expected to get a 3.5, but I got a 1.0. It's from the 314.
Oh, I'm totally on board with that. Yeah.
My parents
Coach, I expected to play much better. I can't help that they defended me that good.
There you go. Wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah, that's why I don't look at those expected numbers.
Either.
Some people look at them, and some people find value in them, and I'm sure there is.
I don't know.
There's a story to be told with it, because when I started covering some of the blue stuff, the expected goals against, all it meant was
how many goals that team gives up.
No, expected goals for a goalie was really good scoring chances that the goalie made a save. But that was an expected goal. Like, it should have been in. But he made a great save.
Because he's a human.
So he has expected goals of like +3 or +4. Means he's saving goals.
He's a human and he has a brain. And he can lift his glove up and
the stat tells you something, but he could have just said big saves.
Yeah, I like that.
How about
better.
Big save category?
I like
instead
that
of expected goals. You know?
I like that better.
All right. Anyways, we're going to talk hockey again here. We're going to talk about one of my favorite players on the Blues, Jake Neighbours. And is he flying under the radar from a league-wide standpoint with how well he's playing this year? Carey will tell you next here on 101 ESPN. Welcome back here to the Fast Lane. Time is 5:17. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. We had head coach Drew Bannister on earlier today to talk about his coaching additions. If you missed that, go back, download the podcast. It's a great interview. Trust me, you won't be sorry. I think you'll, if you don't like Drew Bannister already, I think you'll find a way to like him following the interview. But as we dive into the roster, Carey, and never mind Pavel Buchnevich and draft picks and things like that, I want to take a moment and talk about one player that's currently on the roster, Jake Neighbours. Jake Neighbours, I'm going to be honest, last year when we were projecting things for players, I said that if Jake Neighbours got to 15 goals, it would be fantastic. But when you look at his body, he almost did. Had it not been for an injury, I would probably argue that he may have gotten to 30 goals. But he started the season kind of on the outside looking in. Then as the season progressed, he started on the fourth line. Worked his way up to the third line. Then he got second line, and then he got the bump. And it all started, so I'm bringing it all together here. Drew Bannister came in and noticed right away, which I don't think it took a genius to see that, the power play was struggling, okay? I think it was like at 8%. It was terrible. It was awful. It was tough to watch, tough for the players, all that stuff. Drew Bannister realized they needed a steady net front presence. And so he circled two guys on the roster, Jake Neighbours and Oscar Sundqvist. Two guys that would willingly go there, take a beating, and just be that guy. That changed a lot of things for Jake Neighbours. Not only did he start to get some points and some goals, his confidence with the puck started to skyrocket. Getting to be familiar with Robert Thomas and playing with some of the elite players, that started to be a lot easier for him. And then lo and behold, he becomes one of the guys you're counting on the most down the stretch. Unfortunately, he got a concussion, couldn't finish out the season for the Blues, and that's why, in my opinion, is why he fell short of the 30 goals. But this is farther along than we expected, Jake Neighbours. Before we get into some of the numbers and some of the comparison or comparable players around the league, you love watching Blues hockey, and I know you have an opinion about Jake Neighbours.
I loved watching him because he did it's the dirty work. It's the hard job. As you said, taking a beating in front of the net, but you're reaping the rewards of scoring goals because there are going to be a lot of shots shot at you, near you. You're going to be there for rebounds, for tip-ins. And I think he took that job and said, if nobody else is going to or willing to do it, this is what the team needs for us to win. And he did it at a high level. He did it really well. And again, if he hadn't got injured and missed those, last 5 or 7 games?
It was like 5 games or so.
He probably does get to 30 goals because he was there. He was that net front presence that you talk about that this team needed. And you saw the power play. You saw the team kind of shift in what they were able to do by him being right there and scoring those goals. And I just loved it. I also loved, listening to him talk. He's not a young player in how he talks.
He's an old spirit.
He's an old man. He's a veteran, how he carries himself. He might be young in years on the ice, but his game is not a young man's game. And so as a teammate, I know they appreciated that. We talked about it before. He sounds like a future captain of the Blues, just how he carries himself. And, he's just a great person for what this team needed last season. And hopefully going into next season, he continues that, and it just gets even better. You gain more confidence the more time you get on the ice, the more goals you score, the more plays you make. And now you get a little bit more confident, and you're not just a net front presence guy. You're a guy that can do some things on the rush and score goals and get some assists and be involved in other aspects of the game.
So every team has a captain or captains. In the NHL, you get the captain, a couple of assistant captains. Carey, I don't know if it was the same in football, but it was definitely this in hockey, is you'd have your captain, and then it's weird. You always had one young player that was like the young player captain.
Yeah.
That was like the leader of the young guys.
Yep.
It's Jake Neighbours.
Yeah.
I watch this guy interact. First of all, he interacts with all the players, but I watch him as he drags the young guys into conversations.
Right.
In the locker room, he's holding court. He's talking he's the captain amongst the young guys. It's almost like there's Jake.
Yeah.
Look up to Jake. And that's being a little silly.
Right.
But you know how that is, right?
Yep.
And that's important to have a guy that is dragging the young guys along because the other guys are going to do it too.
Right.
But it's great when you have a young guy that's your peer that you're looking at going, okay, let's do what he's doing.
And it gives you confidence as a young player when you see your peer having success. It gives you confidence saying, well, hell, if he can do it, I can do it. And it's not a slight against him. It's saying we all came up the same way. We all been playing together. We know each other. I know this guy. It's translated from every level, and now he's here having success. I can as well. I think you see that from Matthew Kessler. You see a young player saying, well, hell, if he's having this success, I can too. So I think it helps the entire team, but it definitely does help those younger players.
So let's do some comparables here just for fun. And when you look at Jake Neighbours, his draft year in particular, let's compare him to a few guys. How about the number 1 pick overall, Alexis Lafreniere, who's 22 years old, same age as Jake Neighbours. He's played a lot more games than Jake Neighbours. His first season in 2020, 2021, he got 12 goals. Following season, 19 goals. Following season, 16 goals. That, by the way, is 3 full NHL seasons.
Okay.
Jake Neighbours has played 1 full NHL season. And then just last year, the number 1 pick passed the 20-goal threshold. He scored 28 goals. Jake Neighbours at 27, okay? So let's keep going. The number 2 pick his draft year, Quinton Byfield. He's played substantially more games in the NHL as well. Last year was his first real full season, but he had 53 games, 40 games, and 6 games the year before. He scored 20 goals on the button. It's the number 2 pick overall. Jake Neighbours, by the way, 27 goals. Let's go to the number 3 pick. This one here is probably a little more unfair. Number 3 pick was Tim Stützle in Ottawa. He's a really good player. He's had himself 4 full seasons in the NHL, scoring 12, 22, 39, and last year, little dip, 18. So Tim Stützle, by far the most productive player from that top 3 pick. Right. But Jake Neighbours, when you look at the production that he had with the 27 goals, albeit a little bit of a, I don't want to say surprise, but for me, I felt like a little bit of a surprise to get 27 goals out of the youngster. You look at that and you look at overall his points, 38 points. He's going to want to produce a little more offensively, like overall. But when you're scoring 27 goals, that's a really nice spot to be able to start from.
It really is. And again, it was so exciting to see that. For me, watching young players have success is one of the best things because, again, it gives you so much confidence to keep going. There is a moment, you know this, Jamie, where in your first year or two, you might question, like, damn, can I do this? Am I capable to play in this game for 3, 4, 5, 10 years? But when you start having small successes, like, oh, I got a couple of goals, I got a couple of points tonight, I scored a goal. Now, and then I finished the season with 27 goals, knowing I missed 5 or more games and probably could have. Now I'm hungry to get back to it. I have a level of confidence that I didn't have going into training camp last season. Now I'm a veteran. I've done it at a high level. I can do it again. So that part is what makes me excited for him, for this Blues team, because I do expect, hopefully, to get over 30 goals from him next year because he's going to have the same opportunities and probably even more. He's going to start out the season in a different role than he did last year, which will allow you to end up with more goals and more opportunities.
It'll be a difficult spot for him because now there's expectations, too.
There you go, yeah.
There's expectations and there's other teams' coverage. Jake Neighbours is going to have a little bit more of a target on him. I don't mean like in a mean way. They'll just be aware of what he's doing. The one thing, though, that Jake Neighbours has going for him that's super hard for anybody to take away from him, he goes to the front of the net.
Right.
He goes to the front of the net. The rebounds are there. The deflections are there. It's not like you can pick him up in the neutral zone and eliminate him.
Right.
He goes to the front of the net. Now, so just for reference here, when I talked about the first 3 guys in his draft year, that draft year was 2020, and Jake Neighbours was drafted 26th overall. So hats off to the Blues staff for using that pick wisely, but also picking a player that is able to bring this kind of offense to the table with all those other intangibles.
Correct.
He hits. He's not afraid to fight. He'll block a shot. He's a leader in the locker room. So you've really gotten way more bang for your buck than what you probably thought originally.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I'm excited for Jake Neighbours to continue playing next year in the role that he was in last year. And I'm excited to see how guys like Drew Bannister, Steve Ott, Claude Julien, how they can continue to improve Jake Neighbours. Because you know that kid's going to be here early. He'll be working. He'll be in the gym. He'll be on the ice.
Right.
That's just the way he is. So,
keep grinding.
Yeah, keep grinding. Keep going, Jake. We love the way you play. And excited for you the season coming up. All right, where are we at here? We got Beat the Streak and biggest question of the day coming up next here in the Fast Lane. Stella Artois is partnering with Hot Ones to bring hot wings and hot trivia questions to St. Louis. Sign up now. Compete in 3 rounds of trivia where the questions get more difficult as the wings get hotter. You can visit Cyberg's or Hot Shots locations to sign up to participate and compete in the competition for an awesome STL Staycation Grand Prize, or just come and hang out, watch the festivities, enjoy some free Stella samples, your choice of, and your chance at attendance prizes. Tonight from 6 to 8 p.m., I will be over at Cyberg's on Dorset Road. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing some trivia, and the way it works is that when you get a question wrong, you have to eat a wing with the hot sauce on it, and it gets hotter and hotter. It's supposed to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see everybody over there. And the grand prize is pretty awesome, too. Each winning team member gets 2-night stay at Live by Lowe's Hotel, Stella Artois beer, pairing dinner at Bourbon and Clark Restaurant. I've been there. It's really good. And Cardinal Suite tickets. Of course, that's with a mutually agreed upon date in August. So please, again, stop by Cyberg's tonight. Actually, coming up here on Dorset Road at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun. Be there.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update. Brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals, they're taking on the Cincinnati Reds tonight after defeating the Atlanta Braves last night 4-1 in Game 2 of yesterday's doubleheader. Miles Michaelis on the mound tonight going up against Andrew Abbott. First pitch is at 6:45. The Blues announced that Steve Ott has been promoted to associate coach. Claude Julien joins the Blues staff as an assistant coach. We talked about that earlier today with head coach of the Blues, Drew Bannister. If you missed that interview, and it is a good one, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. It is also featured on the website, so go check that out. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have Beat the Streak and Biggest Question of the Day coming up next. And then after the show, we have a Last Minute Blues podcast. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Hit baseballs.
All of my successes depend on me.
You're ready to hit.
The hits just keep on coming.
And his first big league hit is a bullet up the middle.
It's a fast lane here on 101 ESPN. Time for Beat the Streak. We got Tim on the phone with us. Tim, how we doing?
Doing well. How are you guys?
We're good, buddy. We're good. All right. So you know how this works, right? You just pick a player in the game to have a hit tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Marshy, what's the order? I have no idea where we're at.
All right, so Anthony is actually leading us, even though he has not been here. 2 is his streak right now. Carey, you had the streak going. You did. Mason Wynn did not get a base hit for you, but Alec Burleson did, so now your streak is at 1. My streak is at 1, thanks to Mason Wynn. Tim is in for us today because Brian did not get a hit. Matt Olson did not come through for Brian. And Jamie, you have gone 2 days in a row without getting a base hit thanks to Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah, thanks to Michael Ciani.
So Anthony will go first, and his Beat the Streak contestant is Martini.
Okay.
Right. Who's next, me or you?
Carey, you can go.
All right, give me Mason Wynn. Pick this
boy, that's
right
a real shocker.
Yeah, it's a stretch, right? All he does is hit baseballs.
All he does is hit. All right, Marshy, you're up.
Give me Alec Burleson.
All right. Is it me or Tim?
It is Tim.
Tim, go ahead, buddy.
All right, gentlemen. So I actually have my family in the car, so my daughters, Ellie and Maddie, are going to make the choice for me.
Oh, all right. Well, we missed it.
Paul Goldschmidt.
Paul Goldschmidt. RL Chalk, old Goldie.
Good job,
all right, well,
Ellie and
thank
Maddie.
you, girls, for that. We appreciate it, and we wish you guys the best. I'm going to take Wilson Contreras. I've got him for the home run. I'm going to double down for the hit. Yep. I think Big Willie's going to do some damage tonight. Good luck to the Cardinals. All right, Tim, good luck to you, too, and hopefully we'll be talking to you tomorrow.
Sounds great, fellas. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Marshy, biggest question of the day.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
All right, gentlemen, yesterday, the biggest question of the day was centered around Bronny James. And we were wondering if he was going to get drafted. Well, it appears that he has, and he has been drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers.
Don't say.
Wow.
Oh, you don't say.
Who is shocked?
Not I.
Carey, I'm embarrassed for the Lakers at this point. Yeah. I'm not. Listen, I don't know anything about Bronny James except that he plays basketball.
But he's LeBron James' son.
Yeah, I don't know what the Lakers are doing. J.J. Redick, he might end up being a great coach, but he started off with a sloppy press conference with the way he was acting.
I gotta talk to some of my L.A. people, man. I got friends and family that are diehard Laker fans, and you know, since Kobe retired, I haven't been great fans of the Lakers, and a lot of them don't like LeBron James because they don't feel like he's actually a Laker. So, I'm interested to see how they feel. We were talking about it in the break after the news broke that, LeBron has done everything he can to help his son to this point. I think I was reading and I couldn't listen to it. Bob Myers was saying that his agent and LeBron's agent, Bronny James and LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, were telling teams, if you draft Bronny, he's going to go play in Australia. So
Go ahead.
I think they were, keeping other teams away from him. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because if and when Bronny James does get into a game, his father can't help him. Like you've done, he's helped him. Son, I helped you as much as I could.
Son, just give Dad the ball.
Well, he probably, Jamie, they probably won't be in the game at the same time. I'm just saying.
They will be at one point.
At one point, they will be. At one point, they will be.
Because this is a LeBron James circus, okay?
Well, late in games, when the game is out of reach, either you're up by a lot or down by a lot, and Bronny James gets into the game, they're going to attack him. And not in a basketball way. Like, they're going to go at him to prove, yeah, you got to prove it. And you know that, Jamie, and being a professional athlete, when you get out there on that ice, when you get out there on that field, it's you versus him. It's man versus man. My job is to move this man against his will. Your job to stop this guy from getting to the net. It's nobody there to help you. Not your brother, your mother, your sister, your cousin. Nobody but you. And so it's going to come a point where Bronny James is going to have, and hopefully he arises to the occasion. But it is left to be seen, to be determined.
Yeah.
TBD.
That's one aspect of it, and you're 100% right, and I totally agree. For me, it's just the circus. Like, what are the Lakers doing here? Like, this used to be one of the most respected basketball organizations in the NBA. I mean, think of the legendary players that have put the Lakers uniform on. Think of what it used to be to play for the Lakers, to sit courtside at a Lakers game. Like that, it carried a certain, mystique to it almost. Yeah. And now you got LeBron James, who's picking head coaches, playing GM, drafting his son. Like, what are you doing here? If this is the case, why Lakers just say, hey, LeBron, go to another team. Go retire. Whatever. We're not giving you this massive contract. By the way, LeBron just re-up for a stupid amount of money. He's a good player. He's not a great player anymore. What are we doing here?
It's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
I just don't get it. Yeah, well, I guess they didn't ask me.
What do you think, Marsh?
Oh, I think it's stupid. He wasn't even good in college when he played at USC.
I think, he had come off the heart issue where I think he collapsed at practice. Who
did?
Bronny James.
I did not know that.
And so his season kind of got started later in the season. But, I don't know, man. It's rare to see a player get, and we'll see.
To me, this spells out that LeBron James is probably going to retire.
A Laker. Or soon. What are you saying?
Very soon, because, well, think about it.
Just gave him a 4-year extension? Is that what I heard? 3 years?
I didn't see that.
It's 100.
That doesn't mean he won't retire, though. But my thought process is, if he was going to play 3-4 more years, why not wait till Bronny actually plays college basketball and gets his feet wet, playing at a high level and playing good? Time. Well, that's my point. I think that
3 years, $160 million.
At some point within, this could be it for LeBron, and he wants to play with his son. He's made that apparent for years now that he wants to play with Bronny, so may as well have him on the team and play as long as they can. And then if Bronny's career goes down the toilet after that, then so be it. But that's my opinion. I don't think he's good enough to be an NBA player.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody thinks that.
Well, we're getting a lot of reports just saying that Bronny was not really good, but then we'd get one that says, I'm not a LeBron guy, but Bronny was a solid player at USC, and LeBron is definitely still a good player. I didn't say he wasn't. I said he's good. He's not great. And Bronny, I didn't see anybody. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and claim to watch a ton of college basketball, but when I do watch it, They talk about all the best players in college basketball, Carey.
Yeah.
And guess who I didn't hear about when they talked about the best players in college basketball?
Yeah.
Bronny James.
Most of the second-round players, like if you are, and generally NBA, it's the lottery picks that you know are going to come in, have an opportunity to play right away. Second-round picks are their contract is not guaranteed, I believe. So they're not guaranteed.
Oh, it's going to be guaranteed. You watch this.
He probably will play in the G League, have some. Is it still called the G League? Yeah, the G League. He'll have some opportunities there, but he'll play in a handful of regular season games, I'm sure. Because the purpose of him getting drafted was to play with his father.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'll say to end this, to put a bow on it. One, I hope Bronny James is good. I hope he works hard. I hope he plays well at the NBA level, because if he doesn't, it's going to be really awful for him, and I don't want the kid to go through that stuff. I hope he's good. I hope he can contribute. Time will tell for sure. Yeah. All right, if you guys didn't know it, I'm going to be over at Cyberg's in about 15 minutes to host the Stella Artois and Hot Ones night, the trivia night over there. You can hang with me over at Cyberg's on Dorset Road. Stella Artois is partnering with Hot Ones to bring hot wings and hot trivia questions to St. Louis. You want to compete? Visit Cyberg's now to find out and sign up to participate in the competition, or just come on by, hang out, have a great time. They're going to have Stella samples going on, and of course they're going to have all the wings. Cyberg's has great food anyways. I actually can't wait to get over. I got a little bit of a gur on right now, Carey. But remember, that's tonight in 15 minutes, 6 to 8 p.m. at Cyberg's on Dorset Road. Okay, guys, I'm going to duck out of here because, as I just said, I got to get over to Cyberg's for 6 o'clock. Carey and Marshy will take it down the stretch with Bet the Board, 3 stars of the day, criticisms, and compliments.
to the Fast Lane. It's Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh, and Jamie took off to go to Cyberg's. Got a event there tonight where he's going to be trying out some hot sauces. Don't burn your mouth, Jamie. Just be careful with that.
No, thank you. I can't do it.
I'm not a hot
I'm
eater.
not either.
I don't like hot food. I don't like hot sauces. Don't want to do the one chip challenge.
Nope.
Doesn't sound fun to me. Sounds like heartburn and a hospital visit waiting to happen for me. I'm just not a hot guy.
I agree with you. Now, the trivia sounds fun.
No, yeah, that sounds fun. But be careful with the hot sauces.
Absolutely.
We had a really good show today. We had Blues head coach Drew Bannister joined us at 4:30 to talk about the hirings and the Steve Ott moving up in his role with the Blues and the draft that he's out there for. You can check that out later on. We had What's Trending. We talked about Oli Marmol deciding to leave Matt Liberatore in the game and not take him out. Some people were a bit confused about that. Did hot take, hot garbage. Jake Neighbours flying under the radar. What are the expectations for him for the next upcoming season? You can check all of that out on the podcast, which is brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. And now it's time for Bet the Board, 3 stars of the day. And what you got, Marsh?
All right, so let's look at Bet the Board. Jamie is still in the lead, and obviously he's not here right now. He's probably driving in his car as we speak.
Bragging, beating his chest.
Absolutely.
You know how he does.
He is taking Andrew Abbott under 4.5 strikeouts.
Okay.
So that is his pick for today. Anthony is in second place. He is taking the Cleveland Guardians money line tonight.
Guardians? Who are they playing? The Royals? All right. I've been going with the, is it on me or is it on you, Mark? It's on you, isn't it?
It's on me. I'm going back to the WNBA. Got to go back to the W. I'm taking Caitlin Clark over 5.5 rebounds tonight.
All right. Well, I've been going with the Yankees the last couple of games. They gave up 21 runs in 2 games to the Mets. I don't know if it could be much worse. I guess I'm going to go, you know what? Nope, I'm not going to do it. Give me the Cardinals minus 142 over the Cincinnati Reds tonight.
All right.
We got our, what do we have? Criticism and compliments. Our 3 stars. What you got, Marshall?
All right. So from the 314, we were talking earlier, about Matthew Liberatore and whether or not we had confidence in him, and I said I would like to see a show of hands of how many people actually were confident heading into that game. We got a text from the 314. I just got into a fender bender because of Marsh. How do I get in contact with your insurance company to exchange info? Thanks.
Oh, no. We actually said a disclaimer, don't raise your hands, 10 and 2.
It's true.
We actually said it right when you said show your hands. I said, no. 10 and 2 on the steering wheel. Don't raise your hand. Don't raise 2 hands for sure. So we apologize if you got an offender bender. And you should.
It's not on us anymore.
It's not on us. That's a disclaimer. Don't drive with your hands up.
We did put the disclaimer out there. We need a jingle for that. From the 314. Just got to say, I enjoyed the show this week, and primarily due to Jamie doing a fantastic job with the lead in Anthony's absence. Nice job, Jamie.
Good job, Jamie. They love you. People love you.
And we will get Anthony
back. To stop talking bad about you when you're not here. Sorry, Marsh. That was between you and I.
We do get Anthony back tomorrow, though.
And Jamie's gone.
Yeah, it's
you and I are the only ones working here, huh?
We're consistent. But getting Anthony back is like making a trade.
It is.
It's like making a trade. So we got another compliment for Jamie from Gator. Impressive how Jamie was able to hold down the fast lane and Blues analyst positions this past season. Mad props, Jamie.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. He actually talked about it today, having to leave here at times, go to the rink, do 2 or 3 hours on TV, then maybe travel and all the gear and all of that stuff. It does get a little bit tiring. So he's done a great job. I'm sure he's happy that we're in the off season now for the Blues, and he's taking full advantage of it. Not going to be at work tomorrow with us, but enjoy the lake, buddy. We'll be thinking about you.
Yeah, that is a little bit more difficult than doing this show and then going home and then watching the game on your couch.
Yeah,
it's a little different.
It's not more difficult than what you do, Marsh, because you stay up till who knows when, and then get up and do TMA off 1 hour of sleep, then come straight to work. You're a man's man.
I'm gonna have to. Maybe I'll sleep in tomorrow. All right, let's get to our 3 stars of the day. Our 3rd star of the day goes to Jamie's abbreviations.
Oh, what did he? He had the 2, 3, 4. He was trying to get some words.
I think it was prisoner of the moment.
Yeah. He said 2 words for you. No, 3. No, actually 4.
Yep.
Yeah. Jamie, we'll work on our math.
We will.
In the offseason.
A second star of the day goes out to Drew Bannister. Great interview.
Yes, that was great. He was awesome to hear and have him tell us all the things that he told us.
And our first star of the day goes to Donnie Fandango in the Ronald McDonald House Radiothon. Like we said, if you're doing
28 hours, was it?
Yeah, that's insane.
That is amazing.
So shout out to Donnie Fandango.
Shout out to Donnie and shout out to all that he does and, helping raise money for all the things. And that's awesome for him. For Marshy, Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter will be back with us tomorrow. I'm Carey Davis. We will see you. Go Cards tonight. See ya.